What is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 515, the year-end special. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Sup, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
Brett Murdoch.
What up?
Richard Bailey Jr.
What's up, everybody?
And Brian Manjoma.
It turned out this whole time he worked for 10 cents.
Oh, boy. All right, guys. Like I said, we are here for the last regular Thursday episode of Throwdown of the Year. And like we always do, it's the year-end special. We're going to go over all the big stories of the year, gaming stories, all the games, and looking forward to what's coming up next. Adam will join us. He's having some dinner. But the way this thing's structured, we're going to go kind of turn by turn here with our stories. And for you guys who may not remember or who may be joining us for the first time, the way we're going to structure this, the first part of the show, we're each going to bring up one gaming story that we thought was big, and then we're all going to have a big discussion about it, move along. Then we'll catch some other littler stories that we also find interesting. Then after that, we're going to talk about our favorite games of the year, along with our disappointments of the year. And then we're going to look forward to 2025. So strap in. It's going to be a long show. Let's go. All right. So, yeah, let's kick it off, man. Obviously, 2024 was a wild year. In general, it was a wild fucking year. But especially for gaming. And, the bloodbath started, early in the year. And that's the story I want to kind of kick things off with. So apologies if anybody else had this story there. And this is why I told you guys, have a secondary story in case somebody takes your primary one. This year was the year of the bloodbath in gaming, bro. We saw so many layoffs, studio closures. I call this the year where the chickens came home to roost, because back during the pandemic, obviously, studios were just flooded with money. Oh shit, let's buy up everything. Let's buy, hire a bunch of people. They went nuts thinking the party wasn't going to end. And then, this year was, everything just dropped, bro. So yeah, obviously we constantly, there wasn't a single month where we didn't talk about a studio being laid off or a studio being shut down, so definitely the biggest story of the year, or one of them, because there's a lot of them, so yeah, what do you guys think about that? Obviously the big one was Microsoft, it was 1,900 to begin with. Then they laid off even more people. Ubisoft had a bunch. Yeah, Manny, what's your take on that?
I mean, it's the Game Awards finally admitted it, but yeah, ever since the 2023, we've been having these big, the game industry essentially decompressing and just getting rid of people. It's I almost feel like, again, and it all stems from the fact that these people did not adjust their projections. And then also, obviously the little sneaky move that most of these tech companies like to pull, where they essentially, they gear up, bring up a bunch of people and they fire, more than they should, and then they let everybody go right before the end to try to keep their to make it look like they're being mindful about their profits, right, to all their investors. It stinks, and it's a lot of people. The funny thing about it is everybody knows what the real issue is, right? Everybody knows what's causing all of it, but nobody's saying it.
Yeah.
Nobody's legitimately going out there and no, you telling me that this is, all of a sudden, maybe you shouldn't have hired so many people to fucking start with, right?
Yeah, I know, but they didn't think about that. And and we said this on the show before. You hear about all remember the big major companies, right? All these layoffs, right? And for our purposes, let's talk about the big three. Two of them are there. One of them isn't. There was only one. It seemed like there was only one company that was smart during this whole time, Nintendo. When all that extra money came coming in, all right, business as usual. They didn't start fucking around, So when all these layoffs started happening, Nintendo didn't have to lay anybody off because they kept things trucking, like always, So shout out to Nintendo for that. By the way, I got to list this shit, people. The top 10 companies that had layoffs. Embracer Group had the most. Our favorite company, the Embracer Group. And this is Manny. I'm glad you said 2023 because this is from August 2023 till now. They laid off 7,890 people. Right. Unity. We talked about Unity. They laid off almost 3,000 people. Microsoft. Go ahead.
Yeah, and part of Unity is number one, Unity had just became a publicly traded company. Number one, number two, a bunch of people decided not to use Unity because of a certain thing that they did, and it caused ripples between with them. So yeah, makes sense to me.
Yeah, and then rounding out the top 3, unless you guys want me to do the whole 10. Number 3, Microsoft. But obviously we have Sony. I was just doing order. So yeah, number 3 was Microsoft, 4 was Sony, 5 was Electronic Arts, 6 was Epic Games, 7 was Ubisoft, our favorite company, which we'll talk about later. Take-Two Interactive, number 8, Riot Games, number 9, and Sega, number 10. Crazy shit, man. And my question to you guys is like, do you think the bleeding will continue into 2025?
I would say it depends on what the profit margins are. Obviously they gotta right before the end of the year. They're probably gonna do. They usually do it right now, right? And we already heard a bunch of companies are already essentially letting people go to try to make it look like they're more profitable than they were. So we'll see.
Go ahead, Chris. What's your take?
It's not just that. There's going to be more studio closures. I mean, Sony has what? Two flops? 2 potential massive flops on the way? Yeah. And what's Ubisoft got going on? I mean, Tencent's about to purchase them and liquidate the shit out of them. So there's way more on the horizon. Like, the game industry is imploding slowly. It's like in 1983, it was like that Titan sub. It just boom, gone. Now it's the Titanic. It's literally filling up with water. The lights are blinking. Slowly seawater's up. Everybody's moving up deck, but it's still like sinking. And these guys. This is not the guys in even the guys who were running video game companies in the 80s and whatever. Those guys gave a shit about games. Some of them were even developers, right? Now you got all these like suits running these companies. They don't give a damn about video games or product or whatever. They just care about money and profits, right? So you have the worst type of people at the top trying to salvage this industry. They're not going to salvage anything. That's why Yves Guillemot is going to sell out. Like that's all they care about. If any of these guys, if Stanton, if Microsoft thought that liquidating Xbox would net them gain, the Xbox would be gone, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if that didn't happen, especially with
I wouldn't put it past or sell it, to or spin it off. But we don't have people who care, like, and a lot of guys out there think that these guys give a shit about the brand and stuff. They don't. They
care about the money.
They care about money, right? Like, Natella's given a dozen speeches about the future of AI and whatever profitability, how much they've invested in OpenAI, how much they've invested in Bing, data centers. They're going to turn on 3 Mile Island. That's what he cares about. He doesn't give a shit about Xbox. And it's sad, really, like when you think about it. But you guys think he gives a shit about you or whatever. He'd dump Phil Spencer. He'd dump that whole thing if he could, and just focus Microsoft's future on Windows and AI integration. Right? They've only invested a lot in cloud stuff, and it's still turning a profit. That's the only reason it's there. That's why it's on page 37 of their financial reports in one paragraph. That's how much they care about it, right? I always complain about this. I can't find the fucking info for you guys in their report because it's buried.
Yeah, page 37. That's crazy.
And forget about Take-Two, all those guys, they don't give a shit. Like the Rockstar that we knew in the past, who made Grand Theft Auto 3 and whatever, that doesn't exist anymore. And Take-Two, all they give a shit about is profit. So it's like you got the worst people running it, and you got the whole thing imploding. It's full of, honestly, unqualified people from the ground up who got hired for politics or whatever, and we can't make a game. And now we're seeing the fruits of that bear out, right? And all of those things, what are they doing? They're bombing spectacularly. And we got more of those on the way. So layoffs in the future, yeah, guaranteed.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I looked up game studios that were shut down this year. I'm only going to name a couple because there's a lot here. There's even more than we didn't even talk about. So here, let's talk about the notable ones. Chris, our favorite, Firewalk Studios, gone, responsible for the biggest flop in like gaming history. Yeah, like it's not even exaggeration right there, bro. Fucking Concord. A couple other ones here. We have Arcane Austin, gone. Tango Gameworks. Even though they're, kind of, sort of.
They're back.
Yeah, they're
back. They're back, but it's like, they waited until they closed in order to buy all of their assets.
Yep.
So.
Deviation Games, Ridgeline Games, Inflection Games, Glow Up Games, like gone, bro. Like, what a brutal. Yeah, and Chris, going back to something else you said, because, we were asked earlier this year, it's like, is the game industry going to have a crash? And that's when I had that revelation. I'm like, oh, bro, it's been crashing, like you said, very slowly, or in this case, sinking,
Yeah.
And again, Sean Layden, he's been talking about this shit for years. Motherfuckers called him out. You're crazy. Gaming's too big. It's never going to fail, Oh, yeah. Talk to Pan Am about that, too,
Yeah, talk to Enron, talk to MCI, like all those places.
Looking crazy. Go ahead, Carlos.
Yeah, I mean, it's well, I don't agree with the entire premise in terms of saying the video game industry is going to die or is in a steady, like, it's the video game industry.
It's a AAA. The AAA video game is crashing. Not video game. No, I don't mean the whole thing.
No, it's
just
not.
I mean when I say that, it's AAA.
AAA as we knew it, it's not going to exist. But no, the whole thing is like Carlos, just the crazy layoffs and studio closures. So that's been a good year for gaming.
Yeah, definitely not. And it's it's one of those things where things like phone games, mobile games, indie games, like all those are still gonna thrive. But yeah, AAA games as we most of the games that we know and grew up on are sort of the ones that are being sacrificed, because a lot of those were we've talked about this ad nauseum. A lot of the industry, even before the whole political stuff you guys talk about, it's mostly an issue when it came to the way that games were being allocated in terms of money and what the motivation was for video games in terms of just pure greed and profit.
Yeah.
And that's why we haven't had a GTA in over a decade. That's why, a lot of studios don't stay the same. Like, and we talk about this, Japanese studios, for the most part, at least the good ones, and there's a lot of them, they keep their people, man. And with video games, it's more of like, how can we get a factory of people who are part-time or contractors that don't stay for long? How can we do that and generate a game that's going to give us the most profit, that is designed in a lab of board and directors? And that's just how the gaming is these days. And AAA games, that is. That's just how that's being manufactured. It's everyone just trying to follow trends, which has always happened in the past, but it's more blatant now, and yeah, it's leading to what Chris has been talking about. It's the slow decline where games as we used to know it is just going in the way of the dodo.
Yeah, pretty much. Shout out to Adam who just joined us. So we're on the first kind of topic right now. We're just talking about the year of all the layoffs, all the studio closures. What's your take on that, if you have one?
It needs to be done. It needs to be done. Because think about it. Everything was just going up and up and up. The cost of games, development, that whole process is getting too high to the point that it's just not sustainable unless we as the customers, plan on paying $80, $90 base model, not all the other tiers, which is why we have those other tiers, because they're trying to recoup a lot of development costs. But it's just too high. Like that'll say, rent is too damn high.
That rent is too damn high.
And that's the thing. It's like, yes, on one hand, there's a lot of work, right? We always hear about crunch and all that stuff. There's a lot of work. It's not easy developing games on any level. So yeah, they should be compensated. But on the other hand, that compensation also comes at a cost for the publisher and for us. So it's like, is it worth it? Now, I've talked about it before. I think that this whole across the board now 70 before 60, that needs to go away. There should be some kind of scaling of like, all right, well, this is how much this costs. This is how much it costs in development. Not about the hours. I hate when people are like, oh, it's a 7-8 hour game. I'm not paying them. If it's quality, it's quality, and it doesn't matter. You'll be happy. But there's got to be some kind of just like when you walk into a clothing store. Not every pair of jeans is the same price. It's like, well, I don't get that, and they need to change it. And I think if they do, then we wouldn't have all these issues of all these layoffs, because the expectation of, let's say you make some game, right? And you're like, you know what? It's about 8 hours, this and this and that. The budget wasn't too high on this. Should you be charging $78? Yeah, you want to, but do you really think people are going to pay for it?
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know what I mean? So it's like, you got to think about that and be like, all right, how about we hit in at like 30, 40, whatever. Like, was it Ubisoft did that with Mirage, right? That didn't come out at the 60, and it wasn't that it was a lesser quality game. It was pretty much what people wanted. The old school Assassin's Creed sandbox style, just stealth kills, and it delivered on that. And it came at a lower point, and I think it sold all right. It wasn't a huge thing, but I think it hit the number, and people felt okay putting in that money with the amount of time and what they were getting. And that's something that they need to do. If not, we're going to see more of these closures, because not every game is going to be up to that level, especially when people are looking at the price, like $70, $80. I'm like, they're going to be a little more frugal with their money. They're going to be like, I'll wait for a sale. Sale's great for us. Sale's not great for publishers. They're taking a loss. So
for sure. All right. Anybody else want to jump in on this topic?
I mean, a little bit, but I think everybody's heard and disagrees with my take on this. That I think video games as an industry have kind of become bloated and overblown. I mean, when you have games that don't have the giant budget and the giant teams being some of the favorites for the last couple of years, it just doesn't seem like we're getting the return on $300 million games that they want. It reminds me of the adage, you can't put 10 pregnant women in a room and make a baby in a month, or 9 pregnant women in a room and make a baby in a month. Like, you can't just exponentially spend more and grab larger and larger portions. And that's not to say that we need to do away with AAA. Honestly, I think we have a lot of things that, like, I wouldn't say Helldivers 2 or Baldur's Gate or any of these, some of these really impressive games, I wouldn't say they're delivering a AA experience, or if they are, the AA experience is kind of moving up in the world, and we don't even really know exactly what a AAA experience is anymore. So maybe the route to profit isn't making one game every 5 to 10 years that costs $300 million, and you need to save, sell $20 million to make any profit off of it. Maybe it is smaller projects. And I know we've had people talking about that, and I know a lot of people have kind of scoffed at that idea, but I think that maybe they're looking at it wrong in terms of context. Like, it doesn't have to be like Helldivers is the kind of project that I think people are talking about. I think when people think like, oh, they're talking about smaller games, they're talking about like, oh, well, what if they just release a big title and then a few little experimental indies? And I don't think that's what it means. I think it's a lot of titles like Helldivers, and then a lot of titles like Helldivers, if they succeed and really catch on, then they kind of put a lot of money into them and bring them back. And that's, maybe we see a lot of, first time, a lot of experimental games with a slightly lower budget and then a higher budget the second time around, the way Portal did. But I don't think that this idea of, oh, we're just going to spend, hundreds of $1,000,000 every time we release a game is going to work, because all that leads to is them trying to make surefire hits. And those surefire hits they're really not surefire hits. Nobody in this game or nobody's in this industry has a crystal ball, so they're spending exponentially more money to try and make sure something happens, and there's no way to make sure something happens. And then when it doesn't, really talented developers end up paying the cost, and they go off and then they make their own studios. I guess it's an ecosystem that works, and if we keep doing it long enough, it could settle down. But it doesn't feel like that needs to be the way. And with as with a lot of things, I blame the exponential growth necessary to be a publicly traded company for all of this. So
Yeah,
that's my manifesto in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's a good take.
I agree with Brett. Like for example, here's an example of a game that it doesn't make sense. It's like Fable, the new Fable that's going to come out.
Rich's favorite game.
First, for Rich's most anticipated game of 2026.
He's going to be devastated.
He liked Concord, so you never know.
That's a lie.
The thing with Fable is a game that not a lot of people were hammering for. Sure, people like the Lionhead games, but it's like a aging population. And the thing is, Fable was announced in 2020. And going back to Brett's point, it's like, if you're gonna remake Fable, just make a small game, like a AA type game with Fable. Use the IP, get some of the inspiration, and do all that stuff, and then release the game. But we're about to be in 2025, and we still don't have a Fable game, which means it probably has like a AAA production to it, at least either monetarily or or production wise. So games like that, I don't understand why those why it's not 2024 and we don't have the 10 to 15 hour game Fable out right now. It's just those types of things. There's a whole bunch of games that could have been made a lot smaller, that takes a lot less budget, that doesn't have all of these Hollywood cameos that cost money, where you can just make a decent sized game. Yeah. I don't know.
And Brian,
go
ahead, Brad. Then Brian goes after.
Just that, and everybody's trying to make the next Fortnite, right? Like everybody's idea is that I'm going to feed my village the most by catching the single biggest fish. Even if I only catch one fish every 12 years, my village will feast like a king. And that's not the fucking case. Like, you could just catch a regular amount of normal fish. It doesn't. This high risk, high reward, once a decade payoff bullshit is the same thing that they've been trying to do since Warcraft kicked off, and it leaves 90%, 95% of companies who try it destitute.
So the one thing about, there's two ways that the thing about like those sorts of online shooter type games, I think the reasoning why the whole idea of making one of those games, they're a lot cheaper to make. Concord obviously not one of them, but they're usually a cheaper sort of title to make, and then the reward is a lot bigger, right? That's why they put out that first game for whatever the hell that stupid they invested in Foam Stars, they invested in what was that the first generation online game that was supposed to be like Fortnite. So Sony was essentially, what I think what Sony was doing was essentially taking the budget what they would usually spend for one of their usual AAA single player titles and splitting them between multiple smaller online projects. This includes Helldivers. But every single one of those situations, I think Helldivers being the only really unique situation between all of the games that they were putting out. Where like one of them was essentially trying to be a Fortnite with cars. One of them was essentially Splatoon. One of them was essentially Overwatch. So, and the one moment that they actually do something, they actually invested. The one right investment was okay. Taking a franchise that they had already done and essentially taking that idea further. I think it's a tough one because like obviously from they see what's out in the world and they see like, okay, yeah, you didn't spend a lot of money to make this silly thing, but at least we're getting a lot of money out of it. But I feel like the answer is not trying to clone all the things that are out there, is trying to bring something new to the environment of, if you're going to go down the line of those silly online, multiplayer / whatever games, trying to find something unique that doesn't match what already has a install base that will not, accept something new like that.
Yeah, for sure.
There's not accepting something new, essentially accept a knockoff of whatever that idea is. I feel like when it comes to those sorts of games, I think people are a lot less open-minded when they've hit that game. Adam's son, my cousin, I guess my second cousin, right? He loves Fortnite. Are you ever going to get him to play a Fortnite like? I don't think so. Fortnite's his thing.
Yeah. And I put him on other ones to try, like Overwatch, other than that, exactly like it, but those type. Yeah. And he'll like maybe half hour in, and then he's like, I'm going back.
No, it's because it's gotten to this point where it's a zeitgeist game, where it's so big that anything that tries to compete in that space gets instantly trounced.
That's why there was never there was never an actual Halo killer. The thing that killed Halo was something that was different than what Halo did.
Yeah, it was Call of Duty, and Call of Duty wasn't even trying to kill Halo. It's just doing its thing. Yeah. And people were like, hey, we like this now,
Yeah, I think it's like the Halo killer wasn't making another Halo game. I know there's quite a bit of people that still like the Killzone games, but Killzone at no point was ever any sort of threat to Halo.
Never.
I disagree with the first statement of that, Manny. I think the Halo killer was trying to make a Halo game. I think they were trying to make Halo because, ironically, Halo is the game that killed Halo.
Well, what thing about Halo is that the company that made Halo stopped making Halo. That's what killed Halo.
Well,
somebody attempting to I guess somebody attempting to make Halo.
Yeah,
killed Halo.
And Brett, maybe a better word is the usurper of the crown or something. I don't know. Was the Call of Duty? Because Halo essentially killed itself.
That's a good point.
But Call of Duty ended up taking the crown before Halo killed themselves.
Yeah, because Halo 3 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare came out the same year. And Halo 3 was like the peak of Halo.
Yeah, that was the peak.
But Call of Duty was like, obviously they wanted to make a shooter, but they weren't like, let's try to dethrone Halo. It's like, let's do our thing, and people liked it, resonated more in the end.
It wasn't Killzone.
No.
It wasn't Haze. It wasn't Insomniac. God damn it. What's the name of the game?
Resistance.
Insomniac. Resistance. It wasn't Resistance. All that. Crisis.
Yeah, that's right. That's a lot of them, man.
Medal of Honor.
Yeah, that's right. Medal of Honor.
Because that's
came
from that.
But pulling it back to the layoffs before we go on to the next person. Brian, what are your take on the layoffs and the closures and all that stuff?
On the one hand, it's very sad to see because most of these games and studios are ones that we liked and we were expecting good things from them. But at the same time, I don't know, I don't know what I can say that's already being said at this point. And I'm just sad that they had to close. And I'm starting to feel like it was mostly the fault of COVID and the expectations set by COVID because they were just ridiculously high. So anything would just never live up to that unless we had another lockdown for somehow longer. So there's that, but then some studios kind of do it to themselves. So it's kind of like watching someone just punch themselves to death. You just wonder, okay, this is all self-inflicted, so I had nothing to do with it. But yeah, I think to answer what was asked, I think this will continue for some time. How long, I have no idea, but I think at some point things will have to stabilize by definition. So there'll be some point where there won't be as many closures, and things will just be like, okay, we've settled down now. All the craziness of COVID's expectations has gone now, and now we're reset like a new level. How many studios have to be sacrificed for that? I have no idea, but I'm certain that a lot more will be coming, and I'm sure of two of those studios coming in, going out, I guess. One of them, I'm certain, is BioWare at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think it can last much longer. When, I don't know, but that's on my cards. But yeah, it's a shame. It's a damn shame, and I am totally in agreement with Sean Layden. Like this expectation of putting in so much money into games and expecting them to pan out doesn't work. Even when Last of Us 2 came out, I was one that said, it seems like everyone doesn't like the Abby side story content. So if they would have just taken out all that and then used that money to make something else, I'm sure that they could have been also successful to some degree. Because I honestly think that lots of money just goes into these games, and it's too much money. It's way too much money, and it's not sustainable at all.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
They could have used that money and made factions.
Well, another canceled game. All right, I'm gonna go down the line here. Manny, you go next. What is a big gaming story of 2024 that you want to discuss?
I don't know how big it was, but I think about it like Power World in general. Right?
Yeah, that's a big one.
The Power World in general, and then the aftermath of Power World, where Nintendo is essentially retroactively has a lawsuit against them based on these things that they had essentially patented later after the fact. It's interesting. It's like, because it's like, for years, and Brett said this before. It's like, for years hasn't somebody made, or Chris has said it too. Why hasn't somebody essentially made a Pokemon world, like a legitimate world where you open world game where you can kind of do this stuff? So they're just like, all right, fuck it, we're doing it, right? And the thing about it is, like, Power World definitely has differences. You can get guns, and you can have the whole kind. In other words, it seems like a little bit more of a fleshed out, version of that world that the Pokemon sort of exist in. But yeah, it's a fascinating thing. And then just again, the success that game had received, especially when because it was like, I almost feel like even them getting attacked by Nintendo, getting attacked by Nintendo also sort of helped their numbers too.
Yeah, and it kind of validates things too.
Like like the forbidden fruit. Oh, we got to get it before they get rid of it, right?
Oh my god, I want to go after Manny.
Yeah, go ahead. Dude.
No,
yeah, because I wanted to go to you or Brian next because you guys actually played it. But go ahead, man.
Everything Manny said, but Path of Exile.
Okay, it all applies.
Yeah. I mean, the same. Like, you have a company that refused to meet the company's demands for over a decade. Somebody finally met the company's demands, stole a large portion of the customer base. Now, then Diablo 4 was released, tried to steal it back. It kind of shit the bed. Path of Exile released, and just kind of clutched it. And now the people at Blizzard are, they're pretty fucking pissed about it, making pissy little tweets about it. So, like, and just today, the original creators of Diablo 1 and 2 announced that they are forming their own company, and they've achieved like $4.5 million of budgeting for a new action role-playing game like Diablo 1 and 2, more in the lines of Diablo 1 and 2. So it's kind of the same in the sense of a company doesn't give the customers what they want until somebody finally just makes that thing, and then they get mad about it and can't really do a whole lot. So it applies for a lot of the same ideas. And as I'm playing it right now, like, this is still everything I want from Diablo, and So, it's a big deal. That or the recent thing that CoffeeZilla just dropped about how I think it was Counter-Strike tried to bribe them to make a video. That part's still kind of unfolding, and I'm still unpacking all the truth about it, though. That's like right at the end of the year, so that's fun, but I'm going to stick with Path of Exile.
Yeah, but Brett, what's your thoughts on Pal World?
I mean, it just same. Literally everything Manny said. Like, it's absolutely beautiful to see people just kind of being like, well, you know what? I really want this thing, and if nobody's going to make it, then I'm going to make it. Like, I don't have to do it yourself ethics if I've ever heard of it. And for those of you old enough to remember, that's some punk rock ethos shit right there. So, it's I don't understand why companies are so insistent that they just don't want to listen to their customers and insist their customers are wrong or their customers don't know what they're talking about or a million other fucking things. It just seems weird to me. And then you have other places who are like other companies who are like, hey, we're just going to try and make a game. In Path of Exile's case, I think they're the most clear cut, and they said they're making a game for they had intended to have a core audience of 10,000. And that would keep their game afloat, and so they still make games for that core 10,000. That's kind of how they keep their direction. So I think that I guess the short version of what I'm saying is Nintendo had it coming.
Oh shit! And then what do you think about Nintendo's reaction?
Childish, petty, and absurd, and everybody fucking knows it.
Yeah, like the fact that
here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Mhm.
I mean this is a joke, just to be clear, but I thought the Japanese believed in honor.
Not Nintendo,
Not-
apparently.
Not Nintendo. Nintendo. Nintendo.
Nintendo
talk about-
Yakuza.
Well, no. Nintendo used to be a Hanafuda card. A gambling material, right? And there was quite a bit of connections. They don't talk about a lot of this, but there's quite a bit of connection to Yakuza and crime. So I'm thinking that one of the reasons, the things that they did was moving away from all of that sort of stuff, got them away from. But I still think that the way the company rolls is a little bit Yakuza.
Yeah, I mean their actions say that.
Especially with that other president of Nintendo, the 80s president.
Oh, Yamauchi, that guy.
Yamauchi,
Yeah.
homeboy, that was head Yakuza of Nintendo right there. Like he was locking shit down. Like he's like, nah, you can't make these certain amount of games. No, in order to be it's like, come on, man.
Well, not this. I mean, this kind of litigious behavior is in their DNA.
Yeah.
It's been going on for years. I mean, the Galoob lawsuit, the Blockbuster lawsuit. They lobbied for a law to prevent video game rentals in the United States. It just all this stuff. The Nyko lawsuit, when Nyko decided, hey, you know what? The Wii Remote's missing. It needs extra gyroscopic functions. It doesn't need to rely on a sensor. Basically, they were building their own version of Wii Motion Plus because Nintendo didn't tell anybody they were building that, and they took them to court. And it's like, oh, we have patents for all this shit. So there's just multiple examples of this. This is like Brett said. They got complacent. They were just doing Applebee's. It's just like, here's your mashed potatoes here. Every single time, the same fucking game over and over again. And everybody said, hey, how about an MMO? You're capable of it. You show you have networking capabilities. I could fight other people. How about an open world? Yeah, no, they weren't interested in that till somebody else did it. They realized like, oh, somebody's on our territory. All right, fuck them. Patent this shit after the fact. Now let's go to court, right? Which is a ridiculous thing to do. Like I don't know how that's gonna pan out. Also, Pal World has Sony on their side.
Yeah,
for legal reasons.
And so we know that history, don't we? Sony and Nintendo. Yeah. So that'll be very interesting. Brian, what's your take on this? I know you like Pal World a lot. What do you think about like the game's like success and the fallout and everything around it? Because it definitely was one of the biggest stories of the year for sure.
100%. I was not surprised. Well, I was totally surprised that it blew up this big, because I had some inkling that it'll do well, quote unquote, but well meant about like 1 million, maybe 2-3 million, give or take. But how well it did and how much it swept things, I was shocked. And it's no surprise that Nintendo came after them because, yeah, Nintendo's very, again, as Chris just outlined, Nintendo's very Nintendo. You know, like you breathe wrong and Nintendo's down your throat. You know, so I'm not surprised at that. But I'm just surprised that it took this long for a company to give people what they wanted, which is people want a Pokemon game that's current gen, so to speak, and this was the closest thing that we got to it. And it's not a big surprise that it did well. I mean, if you have people asking for a thing for so long, then they want to buy that thing. So I'm happy on that side. The other thing that I thought was quite funny was just the weird blowback from other parts of the industry. I think it was one of the guys that worked for Naughty Dog who kept on saying that there was some part of the game that was made with AI, as he couldn't understand how this game was made. And it's like, no, you're just dumb and you can't make games properly. So that's on you. Skill issue, mate. You know, it's like that type of stuff, like the weird hate on it, and it's very strange. You know, like I thought the whole thing was like if a game company does a game well, everyone's very happy because the whole industry does well. But no, it seems like a was it like a high school girls club? You know, it's like there's just hate everywhere because someone bought the same dress as someone else. You know, it's like, come on, grow up. You know. So yeah, I also thought that was very strange.
Yeah, you know, that's a little bit of a pattern we saw this year too. Wukong got a lot of hate. Stellar Blade got a lot of hate. Elden Ring the year before, 2 years ago, got a lot of hate. And they all
Concord.
Well, Concord did it to itself, but you notice a pattern.
Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah, well, that was just a bad game, But
He got a lot of hate before you came out.
But Carlos, you're missing a point. Successful games that get shitted on. Star Wars Outlaws and Concord were not successful.
Veilguard.
Yeah, that wasn't successful either. We're talking about industry people hating on games, not gamers hating on the games. Yeah, I don't know where you're coming from, dude.
You're not. He's playing with you, dude. You know that, right?
No, I don't. You know me. I'm a literal motherfucker.
No, he's totally fucking with you right now. So
okay, over my head.
Carlos is being. Yeah, and Tony
like,
just
bro,
add
we're
to what
talking
you're about
about
to
this.
say.
We're talking about here, brother. Stay on motherfucking topic. Anyway, go ahead, Brian.
No, just add to what you were saying. Like, I do notice the pattern.
Yeah,
very
because you notice when Western games are very successful. Oh yeah, congratulations! It's fantastic. Asian games successful. Very interesting.
I feel like
yeah.
I don't know if it is. I feel like that I don't know what that could where that sort of comes from. Like it's like the fact that people are they angry that the fact that they're essentially going straight to the point and servicing a person servicing people for what they specifically wanted. Like, with a Stellar Blade type of game, right? Like why not, right? It's, there's this, you don't have a lot of those sorts of action games like that, with the, why not service that audience? It's an open field, especially since Square Enix doesn't seem to be making any fucking Nier games, or Platinum Games isn't making any Bayonetta games. Why can't somebody step into that space that's already left open that already has an audience?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes back to the whole Power World thing. Why can't somebody step into that dimensions? Like, people want an open world MMO-ish Pokemon-like game. Hey, we're gonna give it to you. And
then, like, with a game like Wukong, I'm like, guys, you realize this is like the first, like, not the first Asian game, but the first legitimate, like game that was made in China that's competing on the level
game, yeah.
of competing on the same level as the big AAA guys out there.
Oh, I need to say this, Manny. Remember, we heard those reports about the developers crying and all that? Turned out that was fake. So they made this shit up to hate on the game even more. Isn't that something?
Well, I mean, it came from that one. What's her face?
Yeah, apparently it was somebody else. It wasn't those developers.
Oh, so she's crying and somebody else. But here's the thing, like number one, I don't see a bad thing that somebody really wanted an award. That somebody was sad that they didn't win, that they thought they were going to win. I don't see something wrong with that.
Yeah, no, but the point is, like, a lot of these websites were kind of making fun of them for doing that, right? And it turned out it was all based on a lie.
Well, number one, like, motherfuckers, do you realize what kind of pressure that shit is? Because, like, I don't know if they understand this, but, like, this is literally, you're in a foreign country, right? You're putting all of your culture on display. Not many fucking game people in the industry could even say something like that. That they come from a country that literally nobody knows much about. That they're putting their culture into this game. This is not just like some like, oh, hey, I decided to make this game about shooting the shit out of people. This is like a 1,000-year-old book that they've adapted into a game. So this is a little bit different. So I can see why they might get a little bit emotional if they didn't get it, because they put a lot of work in it.
Yeah. Well, apparently that didn't happen. It was just to make developers look bad. Anyway, anything else you guys want to say about Pal World and its wild success?
Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. There you go. All right, I'll move on down the line here. Carlos, what's a story that you think is worth discussing in gaming?
I think one of those stories is that we're at a crossroads right now, and I feel like we're really in the last years, sans Nintendo, of the exclusive game.
Ooh.
We saw it with Microsoft, where a lot of their games are announced not only on Xbox platform, but on a PlayStation platform. We've seen this from Sony with MLB The Show and games like that have already made it to Xbox. Not even Xbox, some of them are even Game Pass. And even recently we got news that, there's rumored to be other games, Sony first-party games that are going to make their way to the Xbox. So, I feel like when we look into the future and we look back to this time, I feel like this time is the moment where we're like, yeah, this is the point where the exclusives died.
It's funny you mentioned that, because how did this year begin? With rumors that eventually came true that Xbox games were going to PlayStation. So proving your point right there,
Yeah, and I feel like I think they feel like the platform, having everything on all the platforms instead of just their own is going to the more profitable choice. For Microsoft, they really didn't have a choice, because they put all their chips in the Game Pass basket, so they had to do this. For Sony, it started with PC, and I feel like they're still going to do timed exclusives, but more and more games are going to start releasing in other platforms that they normally didn't. Even saw this with Horizon, Lego Horizon. It's coming out it came out on other platforms. So yeah, I feel like exclusives, other than Nintendo, exclusives are dying.
Yeah. No, I mean, you saw a lot of that, especially with Xbox. But yeah, like I said, PlayStation, PC, and yeah, we saw what Nadella said about, this is an Xbox, right? It's just further going down that line. So don't be surprised. I tweeted about this and people got upset because, of course, they did. I said eventually you're not going to get, you're not going to have an Xbox. Like, oh yeah, you think this is the last one? I'm like, no, the next one they're gonna have one in 2026. We know that because of the whole court shit that happened with Activision. But after that, I can see a future where Xbox is just an app on your television or something, or maybe just a small box or something.
I see it as a collector's thing. I see that if anything, they'll just have it on their website, because people will always want it, and it won't be just an Xbox. Maybe it'll be for like the next Halo or something, a special limited edition. Get the actual console. Remember when we used to make these shits, And then you're like, yeah, and then you get it and you have one, and you and 4 your other friends have it, and that's it. So,
yeah, go to your LAN
but at
party.
least you have it. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else want to jump on that? The death of exclusives. I agree with that assessment.
It needs to go. It needs to go. Just like the pricing of games, all that stuff that needs to go. It has to be like a bookstore type of situation. Everything is different, and if it's all in one spot, you don't just go to one bookstore for a certain type of book. You go to, if you went to a Barnes and Nobles, if there was around, there was everything there, and it has to go down that road. Just be profitable, so we don't hear all this bullshit. Nintendo's the only one that's still behind the damn gate. So,
yeah. And
well, they'll never change.
They're not changing.
Yeah.
They're too much control freaks. They have to control the hardware and IPs. They would panic if they ever released a title on Steam and it got bootlegged. They would lose their shit.
Yeah,
I mean, when they put Mario on iOS, we felt like that was an apocalyptic moment.
Could not believe that.
And then eventually took that away. You know. Nintendo was like, no, we can't do it. It don't feel right. Stop it.
But it's still there. It's still
Did
there.
they get rid of it? I thought they got rid of it.
Oh, the Mario Kart's there. Mario is still there.
Yeah. I thought they got rid of that phone game, the Endless Runner. Oh, I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, it's still there. So.
But yeah.
It's still there.
No, Reggie, that is not the biggest news of gaming, bro. Fuck that Superman trailer. Anyway,
Superman is a cheat code. Don't watch that shit. Don't support him.
I also have a prediction to add to this. It's not related. But kind of.
Bring it up during the AMA special.
Yeah, bring it up to the AMA special. Yep, Superman. Microsoft next year is going to be in talks of acquiring Ubisoft.
Oh, excuse me.
I predicted this a year ago, but I'm doubling down.
Do you think enough time would have passed where our girl Khan? Oh wait, she's gonna be gone, son. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, so now it's an open field because I predicted Microsoft isn't gonna be buying any more studios because they don't want the FTC on their ass. But with Khan, she's gonna be gone when Trump is in. That's it. They could be like, all right, this is our chance. Let's fucking buy him. You know. Oh shit! Yo, Jay Shep, get ready, son. Microsoft is coming for all your favorite companies. You know,
or to make it look good, they were like, "Oh, we're partnering up with Vivendi or somebody else," you know, and we're going to share this process. That we'll take some and they'll take some. I could see them trying to smooth it over instead of just making it look like it's a big corporate.
But they don't. The point Tony's making is there's going to be no pushback anymore.
That's no pushback. That's it. FTC's not going to say no. No, fuck it. Go ahead. You know, make that money. You know, Carlos. I agree. I think I agree with you, bro.
How about just make the games that make the money?
Yeah, no, they can't do that. They got to do everything besides make games. You know,
like, we want this game. How about you tell us another game? We want this other game. How about you tell us another game? You know, it's like,
hey, we remastered this game you like. Yeah, I wanted a new one. No, you got this one, buddy.
This is the shit you get.
The one thing about all this Microsoft acquisition, we still haven't actually reached the point where they're the ones that are fully okayed a game to come through yet. You know, if we're going by the 5-year cycle, all these games are all going to be multi-platform games anyway.
Yeah.
You know, going from Indiana Jones, Hi-Fi Rush, all those Bethesda games are all going to be coming out on PlayStation at some point. So once we get past that point, once we get past the 5 and 6 year mark, and then we start the next section. I don't think we're actually going to see the actual fruits of this acquisition until the next generation. Another 5 years.
Yeah, you're right. The way games take forever to you're right.
This is part of the reason why they were saying shit like, "Hey, we need to make more games like Hi-Fi Rush," because officially at this point in time there is nothing that they have that is, you know, that can fill in those spaces.
I love how they said we need games like Hi-Fi Rush literally like a day or two after they had already let the studio go. Mm-hmm. It's hilarious.
Exactly.
Tone deaf.
Yeah, tone deaf. That's a big news right there, right? Anyway, but yeah, we'll see what this acquisition shit goes, how this acquisition goes, because Microsoft has this lovely habit of essentially devaluing their own fucking properties, because there's a whole list of properties that they had before that are all gone because they couldn't pull the shit off. Gears of War, Halo, diminishing returns.
I'm still waiting for my Gears 6.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, man, fucking crickets with them. After they showed that new Unreal Engine, they're like, look what we could do, and I bet that shit broke afterwards. They're like, oh no, what are we gonna do?
Oh
like,
no!
Not talk about it. I'm telling you, it's like the dude in the street from my car.
Yeah, my car. Yeah.
That shit is busted. I'm telling you, it's true. Think about it. They did a whole presentation showing off the new Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
And they were showing Marcus Phoenix walking through some lighting and all this. Like, oh, get ready. This is coming. That was like 3 years ago. And nothing. Crickets. That's it. Then there was people posting up their job resumes, whatever, on LinkedIn saying that they worked on a Gears collection for PC. Again, crickets. That was like a year ago. So I don't know what the hell that franchise is doing anymore.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Adam, I'll go to you next, man. What's one of the biggest gaming stories that you want to bring up?
It's one that's still going now.
Uh-oh.
According to Steam, 96% of gamers on there are playing on Windows. No surprise,
Of
right?
course,
That's
yeah.
the dominant platform. So why is it that 2K and EA and a few others are pulling their game support on the Steam Deck because, we don't want to support Linux because that's where all the cheaters are. All the cheaters, all our cheaters are there. You got Apex Legends. They're like, yeah, we're down. Remember the Rockstar with the online? Oh, no, we can't do it anymore because these people, there's other issues going on with Hell Divers and something. Oh, no, we gotta. It's the cheaters. All the cheaters are on Linux, but 96% of gamers are on Windows. So don't tell me that, because even now, and then same thing with Call of Duty doesn't support it. Well, the anti-cheat software doesn't work because Linux. It's Linux. Come on now. Because all the cheating's still happening. You still see people bitching about the cheaters out there. You still Fortnite, all of them still have the cheaters. And that's not even on a fucking Steam Deck. Fortnite, but still, they were like, avoid Linux. So that pisses me off. Because instead of just really focusing on the issue, they were like, well, we'll just blame this platform. And it's that. That's it. And we're just not going to support it. And when it's really not the case. These people are doing their cheating on a Windows platform.
Yeah, obviously, 96% of the
96.
players,
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
you're saying
it's
all
crazy.
the cheating is being done by 4%. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, and it was just like a few months ago when EA announced, Apex Legends, that's it, we're pulling the support of that, and then a few others had pulled their support. And people were like, wow, is this it? Is this what's going to happen to the Steam Deck? It's going to die because it's going to, no, because those companies and players are not going to see a change in the gameplay or the cheating that's taking place, because not all of that is happening on Linux. And sure enough, of course, there's people out there with their YouTube channels posting, it's like, look at this guy shooting through walls, bending bullets, doing a Matrix. How is this happening? It's not Linux. Can't blame Linux anymore. This shit's happening on Windows. No, they're not saying anything about it.
Do you think there's going to be any change on this front?
I think that they'll eventually work with Steam, Valve, because Valve says that they have their own anti-cheat. They've had it for a while, but that these companies don't want to work with them. And the only thing I can think of is that maybe EA and all, they have contracts with that anti-cheat company that they're using, and it's a multi-year deal or whatever, and I'm like, we can't use any other anti-cheat. We have this deal with these dudes, and if they say they can't support Linux, then whatever.
Is it the Novo by any chance? Because remember how they went on a little media tour trying to explain why it was good for gamers and nobody was buying that shit, No.
I mean, that was the thing that even with Halo, when Master Chief Collection came out, and then it had same issues, and then they were like, they pulled it, and next you saw the numbers go up. Everybody just started playing with it. It's like, you gotta cut the bullshit. So maybe it's a support, but I have a feeling that it's gonna be something like that. That maybe the contract will expire, whatever exclusive contract deal with this the anti-cheat company, and then they'll work with Valve, and then they'll come up and say, hey, we figured out a way, like they always do. We figured it out. So there's ways of doing it. They just don't want to deal with it, and they want a scapegoat. And they figured, we'll just blame this percentage. Meanwhile, that's like the lowest percentage of gamers on that platform. So It sucks because I mean, even FIFA, like my FC games, it's like I can't play any of the newer ones on the Steam Deck because of the damn anti-cheat.
Damn.
Why? Same thing with Madden. They pulled the Madden also. But the NBA that works. NBA 2K, which is the other thing I don't understand. It's like it's still. I mean, Rockstar still has a higher up of 2K to answer to, but whatever. I don't know, but yeah, that's my big gripe that the scapegoating and the blaming of Linux for all cheating that's happening on PC games, which is bullshit.
Yeah, I hear that, man. All right, I'll go to Brian. You're next, man.
Oh, well, speaking of Helldivers, for me, it has to be the Helldivers review bombing on Steam following the mandatory PlayStation account requirement. It's been a year of things I've never seen ever. I've never seen a game just go from, yes, this is really good, to just, like, the review score graph is just, it's insane. It just dips down so much to the point where if you actually look at the full scale graph of the positive reviews and negative reviews, it's to the point where you can't really see the positive reviews because the negative reviews just go so far down that I think at some point it was like 200,000 negative reviews in like 3 days.
Damn.
And it was insane, the sheer amount of negativity on that game. And yeah, it was fascinating just watching people scramble around and then the following aftermath afterwards. It was, oh my gosh, it was an event.
To piggyback with that, Brian, remember when Ragnarok came out on PC, and I was like, oh, this is it. It's gonna have the same issue. But then they posted to Sony that it's like, oh, you don't need to require to log into PlayStation if you're playing on the Steam Deck. That's only for the desktop. If you're on a Steam Deck, it'll detect it and it won't require the sign in to a PlayStation account, which is weird, but
that makes it even worse because then
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, how does this help? You're just like dividing things up for what reason? They're like, oh, well, we see that we see it as a handle still, but I'm still logging into that service. It's still, I'm still logging into Steam and Valve and the whole thing, whatever. It was just weird when I saw that email. Like, hey, if you're doing this on Steam Deck, you don't need to do this. I'm like, well, wow, that's all right.
But yeah, no, that was really wild because it was like, the darling game, right? Everybody loved it. Journalists and gamers alike, which is something you kind of really don't see now. And then literally within a span of 2 weeks, they just, all that good faith just tumbled. That's a wrong word. Cratered,
They also had some server issues. It was hard because that was the thing. It was everybody's jumping on, and then I remember jumping in some games and then just getting booted out. It's like, all right, I get it, and it would pop up a message. We're dealing with some server stuff because they weren't expecting the.
No, they
high
weren't
demand.
expecting that. Yeah,
they weren't expecting that. A lot of people really, jumped in on playing the game, and they weren't expecting that high volume.
Yeah, no, that was a wild story, and but the game's still doing well. Like they got that Killzone collaboration, a couple other things. So they're still doing their thing. But yeah, kind of crazy. Reggie says the game is kind of back on the uptick now since But again, you saw that massive just plummet. Like that was wild. That was crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just to prove the point, it's now currently on Steam the seventh most played game on Steam, above GTA 5 and Call of Duty.
GTA 5, Jesus.
It's kind of floats around the top 10. I don't know why.
Yeah, so it's definitely made a comeback, but that was pretty crazy, man. That was pretty crazy. Brian, was that like in the top 3 at like its highest?
I think its highest, it was around the top 5, give or take,
yeah. But
it did sit there at a very high spot. But Tony, do you know what game is not in the top 100?
Concord.
Well, obviously.
Suicide Squad.
Obviously. Your favorite game that came out like 2 months ago.
Oh, Veilguard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, yeah, we're gonna come back to some of these failures, man. All right, anything else you guys want to say about Helldivers? But yeah, again, it's very interesting to me, that whole story. All right, Brett, you're next, man. What's a big gaming story of the year you want to discuss? Unless it was Path of Exile. Oh, it was Path of Exile?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
I haven't waited for that shit all year. I haven't talked about that shit all year.
Fair enough. And we'll talk about it more when we talk about your favorite games of the year. So get ready, talk about it again.
Fuck yeah.
All right, Chris, what's a big gaming story you want to discuss?
2024, the year of financial failures, the likes of which we've never seen. I mean, just the amount of money invested in titles that have cratered is staggering. I mean, something like on the order of $650 million to $800 million on Skull and Bones alone.
Jesus, over the quadruple A game, as Ubisoft
the quadruple
called it?
A title. Yeah. This is quadruple A. You should be selling your house to us to play this game. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, now those 4 A's are 4, right? And I stole this joke. Those 4 A's are for the 4 people that are still playing the game. It's fucking insane.
I mean, yeah, and then so you start adding up the numbers. 400 million plus on Concord, 200 to 300 million on Suicide Squad. I don't know how much the undisclosed, probably a fortune on Dragon Age.
Yeah.
And then the years of development, the lost time, whatever the soft. It's just ridiculous to me how the industry has poured so much money into just utter failures. Not like just like iceberg dead ahead, doesn't matter. Plow into it. We'll show that iceberg, and then every title doing the same exact fucking thing. Just I don't know. It's like everybody went simple jack immediately and just decided to just crash the industry with no apologies. And then that circles back to how you started the show with the layoffs. This is what caused it, But just I was just looking at the numbers. I mean, you're talking on the order of like for these titles, you're going up to $3-4 billion in lost revenue, right? Like billions for video games. And it's just amazing to me how there's no introspection. It was like, no, it's the children that are wrong. It's the consumers are wrong. You didn't buy it because you're a bigot. You're this, you're that, whatever. No, because it's just trash. It's just trash after trash. And then we got even more trash because they've invested so much money. We still got Fair Games. I think Intergalactic, the Naughty Dog announcement, that game is already cooked. Forget it. 2027 or 2028, whenever that shit is ready to come out, and it's been in development already for years. Forget that. That's already dead in the water. That you look at the ratio on the video itself. Brian pointed that out. And it's getting worse.
Oh, hold on. Which video? The one on Sony's website or the one on Naughty Dog's website? Because both are YouTube channels. The one on Naughty Dog's YouTube channel, I actually got ratioed even worse than the one on Sony.
I mean the Naughty Dog one.
Yeah, it's great. But they both got ratioed to fuck. But the one on Naughty Dog, these are Naughty Dog fans, bro. They're not happy. Yeah,
they're not happy. And so it's like when you see that like the industry like quadrupling down on what has already failed, like no course correction, no introspection, no apology, nothing. Just like you will accept this our worldview, and your worldview is the one that is bad, right?
Yep.
It's like like lecturing you like all this shit. It's all this girl boss Mary Sue fucking fuck this shit. Like that's why it's failing, and then it's like insane to me. It's like you people are mental. You lost billions of dollars and you're going to keep going down the same road. That road leads to nowhere. It goes off the cliff. You didn't see everyone else drive off the cliff? Warner Brothers drove off the cliff. Ubisoft drove off the cliff. You're going to drive off the cliff. And it's just like, do you see what happened to Firewalk? Neil Druckmann, do you see what happens? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money they pump into you. If you crash and burn, BioWare is like I don't know if it was Carlos O'Brien says hanging by a thread. BioWare is hanging by a thread. I don't even know if they'll make it all the way through Mass Effect's development at this rate. They rushed to start that announcement like, oh, the team is going to work hard on. No, the fact that you dumped Veilguard as soon as it was expedient, just shows that you knew it was trash. And then you moved on. You're moving on to a new IP to ruin that one. I don't even know if you'll make it that far.
Well,
So,
and Chris,
yeah.
Here's the issue with all of that. In BioWare in particular, they're not making a Mass Effect game because they thought of a great Mass Effect idea. They're making a Mass Effect to fucking revive their brand.
Yeah.
And that's why they're gonna fail.
Yeah, but see, when Tony or me joke about giving people Applebee's, it has to be actual Applebee's. You can't give people McDonald's and put it in an Applebee's bag. That's what they've been giving us, right? Like at least Applebee's tastes like something. It's like don't give me like a fucking fish fillet and put it in Applebee's bag and say actually this is the fucking like bison burger. Like no, it's not. I know what this is. It's trash. I don't want this. Like that's the problem. You could wrap it however you want. Like you could say, "Hey, this is what you remember," and then you open it, and it's like, "Nah, it's actually shit." So it never worked. It hasn't worked. People are onto it, and already their brand is damaged. I understand what you're saying. It's like, oh, let's give people what they want. They know Mass Effect. They love it. Nah, actually, well, Andromeda kind of damaged the brand already. So it's Mass Effect is not on strong ground. You're just gonna pile drive it into the dirt. So there's no hope. The only hope is like this ship keeps sinking. AA mid-tier and indie studios elevate and push the industry forward because at the top it's crumbling.
Yeah, and like you said, Ubisoft's about to have another one with Shadows.
Oh my God!
That's
celebrate Black History Month, like killing Japanese people.
That's it. It's going to be crazy, man. And just to kind of tie in what you were talking about, every single week for like the last 3 months, we've been talking about like nonstop Ubisoft titles. They've been taking it the worst, and that's why I agree with Carlos. Like I think Microsoft should be like, hey, Ubisoft. Looking a little tempting right there, we should talk.
Your stock be soft.
Yeah, your stock be soft, Connie and around no more, just saying. It's crazy, man. All right, and Rich, what about you? What is a story that you want to bring up? Get that battering out of your face first.
Well, first and foremost, some excellent topics that everyone on here on the panel has talked about. But let me just say this. The topic that I want to mention is you guys brought up briefly, but I want to dive into it a little bit deeper. And this is Stellar Blade versus the US media.
Ooh.
Because IGN in particular, I don't know who the hell they hired at IGN to go after Stellar Blade, talk so bad about the game. Obviously, they talk about because they saw the character model, and then they had written all these articles saying, oh, well, whoever made this character model must have been a virgin, some guy. And then they find out later the entire team is made of men and women. A lot of the women were a lot of the designers for some of the character stuff. So like you guys mentioned earlier, a lot of people being wrong about how they perceive a game based off of just looking at it and then jumping to conclusions. And then when the game comes out and it's actually good, they still find a way to criticize it. Like you mentioned, Black Myth Wukong. Now, I haven't played that game, but I saw how well received the game was. And then I remember when before the game came out, there were reports talking about all the stuff going on with the studio behind the scenes, all the issues. They wanted to constantly talk bad about the game. But now you see it did get praised. It did get recognized. So I just think it's interesting. It should be, once again, a lesson to everybody. Play a game for yourself. Do not listen to what all of these other outlets are saying because some of them don't know what the hell they're talking about. And they don't do their research to actually know what they're talking about.
No, you're right. And what I find interesting about Stellar Blade, I mentioned this when we discussed it, all the quote-unquote controversy was generated by the media. It wasn't because of the fans. If this game were to have come out 10 years ago, people were like, oh, that's cool. And that's it. It would have been a normal run-of-the-mill game. But what elevated it was, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great game. Graphics, a really cool setting and all that. South Korean developers and stuff. All that, it really elevates it. But I really think the controversy that the media drummed up is really what like got it up there. And then obviously gamers who have already been tired of this kind of nonsense from the media for over 10 years, they sided with the game and helped it become even more successful. So it was just a shit show, man. And you're right. A lot of these, we IGN, that one guy specifically, the IGN France guy, he was like, "Oh, it's clear that that they've never seen a woman before, never touched a woman." First of all, Eve is actually based off an actual woman, her body. So people, and I'm going to say this right now, people who are making fun of her body, you're coming off kind of racist, bro, because you're making fun of a woman, an Asian woman. And then second of all, the developer, right? His wife was one of the fucking people that helped design the game along with him, and she's fucking hot. So all that stuff was just fucking dumb. They looked like fools. And then he issued that apology that was barely even an apology. And then he even inserted himself in there. "Oh, I've had to struggle with so much. People have come after me on mental health, this and that." You brought it on yourself, bro.
That's every time someone mentions like anything relatively close to identity politics, it's like they get blowback, and then they immediately want to be the victim, and that's exactly what happened in this scenario.
Yep.
With the whole thing with Stellar Blade, it was just ridiculous. I don't understand how where sexuality is sort of going on reverse, the way that people are portraying it. It's like, I thought we were already past this, throughout the last, 100 years, but it's like somehow it's reverting back.
It's
like
bell bottoms.
Like bell bottoms coming back.
Keep coming back. I'm telling you, people just don't know how to let shit go.
Yeah, so that was absolutely. And then obviously, you brought up Wukong. Didn't have the sexual stuff, obviously, but it was still kind of the same. It's like the controversy was generated by the media, not the fans. And fucking Wukong, nobody talks about this. One of the best-selling games of the fucking year. This shit is selling Call of Duty numbers. Granted, it was because of Chinese players buying it. Bro, but still. Yeah. No one talks about that. It's almost similar to the Harry Potter situation, right? Literally the best-selling game of the year. None of the big sites talk about it, unless it's controversial, Very strange, man. Very strange. Like I said, again, I'm not shitting on Stellar Blade. It's a fantastic game, but it is a run-of-the-mill game. Any other year, people would have been, "Oh, this game's dope. This is my number 2 game of the year, my number 3." But no controversy would have even followed this game. There's something controversial in the fucking game.
No, I mean, to be honest, it's like and then their studio's also treating their players well. How many free DLCs have they put out?
They keep pumping them. They just released
They keep pumping them out.
Yeah, There's
a Christmas one now.
Yep.
There's a Christmas one now. So like, if you're getting into this game now, you're getting a lot of cool shit. Like, and obviously the Nier Automata thing is a little bit of money. You got to pay for that, but everything else they've been giving away for free.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Real quick, I want to go ahead, Manny. Go ahead.
Something can be said about simplicity, right? Where in other words, it's like, okay, try to hit that. What's the thing that's the constant thing that's been going through this episode? Finding that area and then essentially going in and doing it yourself. Again, they saw a hole in the gaming space that hasn't, with people that haven't been served, so they did it. And again, bigger, as you said it, Tony, it's a pretty significant pull for essentially Korean games, which classically have really barely had anything in the game industry, with the exception of the game director's previous title. What was it? Magna Carta.
Yeah, but even that wasn't
2.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't a big thing. But I mean,
to be fair,
go ahead.
Korean games just mostly people know Korean games. They just don't know their Korean games. Well, like League of Legends and PUBG.
Yeah, exactly. They're those types of games. But this is the first one where it is a story-driven game. This is like a fully story-driven single-player title. In fact, that's one of the things that this guy wanted to do, because what does he have? You don't talk. They don't talk about that Shift Up company much, but they also have a very successful multiplayer title as well in Korea.
Wait, I
So
don't think League of Legends is Korean. My bad.
I was about to say, Carlos. I know a lot of maybe Korean players play it. That's like saying StarCraft is Korean. No, but I understand why you would say that.
Yeah.
well, I mean, there's quite a bit of other games, but again, what do you hear from? What is the stereotype that you hear from a Korean game? MMO, massive multiplayer, those types of titles. That's what you usually see that comes from Korean studios. And
not a game that's comparable to like a God of War or something. You don't see
not
that.
A God of War, definitely not a what is it? A Nier Automata, a Platinum Games-esque type of game or a Capcom-esque type of title. That's not what you usually see that usually comes from there.
Yeah.
So
Stellar Blade was great. Again, I like the fact that it didn't feel like a Japanese game or a Western game because it was neither of those. It was very refreshing, Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, Reggie's going off about some stuff, but that's going to derail the show, so I'm not going to get into that. All right, this is the part where we just go over maybe other little stories we may not have hit on. I'm surprised no one brought this up because it was a big story, the PS5 Pro,
Is it a big story?
Yeah, man. Nobody talked about it. We didn't have multiple episodes about it. Obviously, it was a big story.
We might have done an episode or two, but those are probably our lowest episodes.
No, they weren't. but obviously, the system came out $700, and I agree with the general sentiment here. That's testing the waters. Let's see how much people are willing to pay for a system. Because it's going to be very strange if the PS6 comes out and it's lower priced. I mean, it could be, who knows, but I think Sony's like, let's see what motherfuckers get away with. So that was a big one. And then obviously, one of the things I found very interesting about the PS5 Pro, it gets announced, everybody was like, fuck that price, too much. Then the following week, when they released that 30th anniversary one, that was like $1,000, everybody changed their fucking mind. It was hilarious.
Because that one legitimately legitimately looked cool. Like it was just all the Pro just looks like is an extended version of the Slim. Like, and then have you ever watched the unboxing of that shit?
Not the 30th. Yeah.
The 30th literally has a really cool box, both versions of them. They're not like the essentially just some foam packaging and an outside box and an inside box like the PlayStation, the normal PlayStation 5. They literally put some fucking work into it, like on par with the way the Xbox One, the Xbox Series X experience is unboxing that thing, because that one's a nice one too.
Yeah. By the way, Manny, when you said the unboxing, it threw me off. Like, Manny, you were there. We unboxed it, but it was the regular PS5 Pro. I know.
That was a regular PS5 Pro. The same thing, the same box, same size box, and everything. That's exactly the same as the other box for the Slim. Like very simple, simple packaging. The 30th, that's got all kinds of cool stuff. Like the way you even open it out. Like, the other one, you have to kind of pull it out. You pull the top off, and then you literally see the console standing in the center of it.
Yeah.
So
I would have been happy if it looked like a PS4.
Yeah,
that would have been. I would like a throwback, or even make it. I don't know. I just don't like the PS5 the way it looks.
No, nobody does.
Yeah, I don't care nobody cares for
nobody cares for that.
I don't care how cool the color is. I'm like, it's still the same fucking big ass.
With the PS5 Pro, I'll just say it's more tolerable, but it's still not good. I still don't like it. Give me a simple box, like an Xbox. Just a fucking box. I don't need anything fancy.
At least give it something something unique to separate it from the other electronics.
Oh, it does, Manny. That's the problem.
No. I mean, not like idiotic like the PlayStation 3, where it's like, hey, look, we made it round. It looks like a fucking George Foreman. No, not shit like that.
Or let's give it a pop top like the PS5.
Like the PS5. No, come on, like the 4. I would say that was one of the better designs. Both versions of it, with its sort of slanted sideways sort of thing, but it was slimmer. It was both versions were pretty iconic looking.
The VCR version, the PS3, with the slider one. Remember that? The cheapo version?
Yeah.
Put the disc in it, like, and close it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was
Is what it
one.
is.
Again, we're gonna do it just a little bit, just running through these fast. But obviously, I'm gonna do
Rapid fire.
yeah, and then. But I want you guys to jump in with anything I may have missed here. Big one for me, and this is personal. Two of them, you already know what I'm gonna talk about. Finally, after 20 years, we have all the Marvel's Capcom Fighting Collection. If you guys have been listening to this show since the beginning, 2012, I've been saying we need a collection with X-Men Trilogy of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, Marvel's Capcom 1 versus Marvel's Capcom 2. We finally got it, and that game right there rejuvenated my love of gaming because it brought me back to the fighting games, which Manny and I played a lot of when we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
And like that was great. And then obviously the other big one, if you saw our fucking show last week, you heard your boy screaming, Virtua Fighter is back, baby. And it's going to be fantastic. Yakuza Studio. I'm not going to derail the show, but I've just been getting these ideas like, yo, this is your Yakuza Studio. You could literally have a mode like Adam. Okay, you play Street Fighter 6, right? You don't have to have that open world mode. You could have that. It's Yakuza. Just have Yakuza in Virtua Fighter. Just going around beating the fuck out of people, breaking shit, and a good story. Super Virtua Fighter's never had a story. You have Yakuza games have the best stories out there. So you could have a legit, really good story. So great. So yeah, the Marvel's Capcom Collection. A shout out to who won that? Michael Santiago. Yeah, he won that.
Yep, he should have it by now.
If you think about it, they could have. Yeah. Man, I think about that whole Yakuza series could have had its own version of Fortnite because when you go in, when you're in that world and you're going to the Sega arcade and there's all the games. What if they just expanded those to like full games? You know what I mean? Like a big experience.
Yeah.
Then like even now with the Virtual Fighters, like going to this just a Virtual Fighter arcade and that's a lobby in itself in the game.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's there getting ready, sort of like the way they have in the Street Fighter 6.
You're talking PlayStation Home now.
All within that world.
It's a
all within
house.
that, but it's all within Yakuza. When you go out in the street and there you go, you're in Yokohama. So.
Yeah. All right. So any other little stories you guys want to bring up real quick before we move on? That happened in gaming? Any little stories? No, I think we covered. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, it's just one that's bothering me. It's not a big story, but
it could be little.
I think it sets a bad precedent. Was Sony pulling the original version of Horizon Zero Dawn from Steam, PSN, PS Plus when the remastered complete edition was, but just before the complete edition was released, and I think that sets a bad precedent. It's like they were basically like, no, this is Horizon Zero Dawn now. We're erasing the old one. Don't play that one. And they didn't even give people the option to even get it anymore. You can't buy it. You can't go on Steam and buy it. If you go to the original page, it redirects you to the remastered page. The PS Plus, if you want a PS Plus, they pulled it off PS Plus.
I don't like. You know who else did that too this year? Chris, Sega. All their classic games, gone. I
feel like they all do that though.
They all do. I don't like that.
I've said so many of these Call of Duty older ones. I was talking to a buddy of mine a few months back, and he's like, "Oh, we played this other one." It's like, it's not on Game Pass. I was like, "Oh, let's look it up." And the only version you can get is the gold and the ultimate. There's no standard. You don't want all the bells and whistles. You don't want all the bullshit. You just want this. No, you can't do that. Or like the Borderlands when they're like, "Oh, well, we did a remastered version." Yeah, what about the other one? I just like no, we pulled that. This is all you got.
Yeah, no, Chris, I agree with that. And that's something that's been going on for a while. I don't like that practice.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
Yeah, remember Square Enix did the same thing with the Final Fantasy games. They pulled them all off of Steam and then re-released the Pixel remasters. Granted, the Pixel remasters are better, but give the people a choice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next section here. Our favorite games of 2024, people. We're going to go down the line here as always. Basically, have everybody list their top 3 and an honorable mention, And I guess we'll do it for fun, like go from 3, 2 to 1, So, and then, give a brief little reason why you liked it. All right, so I'll start first. Number 3 for me is going to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I really enjoyed my time with that, even though it is that weird kind of middle child, because it kind of starts off where the last one left off and it's on a cliffhanger. But I had a blast with it, even though it had way too many fucking mini games. Like just seeing the characters, like the music was fucking amazing, the worlds and stuff. Just solid fun. And it was a little bit, and even though I liked Final Fantasy 16, it was a little bit of an antidote to that because I felt that game was too linear. This one, gave me what I wanted. Complex battles, multifaceted stages, a lot of exploration. I had a blast. I really need to go back to play it on the PS5 Pro because, like, I played a little bit of it with the enhancements. It's fucking great, So that's my number 3. My number 2, and this one was surprising to me because this is the first time I really delved into this series, a series that I had shitted on for most of my life because I was a Virtua Fighter guy. But this game did come out this year, so it counts, and I had a blast with it. Motherfucking Tekken 8, I had a lot. Yeah,
frozen over.
Crazy, right? Imagine telling me this shit 3 months ago.
If you told young Tony this,
not young Tony,
like
3 months ago. But yeah, yeah.
No, young Tony would be a lot more harsh on you.
Oh yeah, he would be. Yeah,
you fucking asshole.
Yeah.
What is this shit?
Yeah, you're right. Me from 3 months ago, but like, oh yeah, gaming is really bad. I get you, bro. No, Tekken 8's been a blast. And here's the thing: the journey really started with Tekken 7, but I can't count that because it didn't come out this year. But Tekken 8 did, and I actually liked it a lot more because it's way more aggressive than 7. Even though some of the Tekken 8 players, the big FGC guys, they don't like that. They don't like the aggression. I like to just get in there and fuck shit up. The story. Here's the thing. I really like that fighting games are giving you a substantial amount of single player content now. I played so much of this fucking game. I've gone online, don't get me wrong, but I put most of it in the single player stuff. The story's great. Like, okay, you have your own dedicated story, right? That comes off from the last one. Each character has their own ending. And then you also have this really cool thing called Arcade Quest, which is very reminiscent of Virtua Fighter 4's Arcade Quest, where you basically go to different arcades in Japan and rank up and shit. Great fun. And since I don't have any muscle memory or any association with Tekken, I've just learning like from scratch. I don't have to playing Street Fighter 6. I have to try not to play it like Street Fighter 2 or Street Fighter Alpha. I don't have that problem with Tekken. It's just learning all these combos and shit. Characters have fucking hundreds of moves. I'm not even exaggerating. It's been a blast, and it even got to the point where I was watching the Tekken World Tour like for 3 days. I'm watching the fucking the streams and stuff, having a blast. Whereas Toshinden Love, Toshinden did come out this year, man. Talk about 2024. Toshinden was fun, though. Battle Arena Toshinden, I played that on Saturn. But yeah, so that's my number 2. Number 1, we already talked about it. Stellar Blade, man. Here's the thing. Again, not a revolutionary game, but it hit the sweet spot, man. It gives me exactly what I want in a video game. You give me a good story, fantastic graphics, cool mechanics, and a world you could kind of lose yourself in without being too crazy big. Great fun, man. I'm still trying to get the platinum in that. I was, again, checking out on PS5 Pro. Whoo, man, like it looks and runs good, even though it's still great on the regular PS5. But it's still played. It's like, why? Again, we used to get games like this all the time, and now it's like few and far between, And I want to go back to play Nier Automata again because of this game, because it's very clearly a love letter to it. And the DLC for it was fun too. So yeah, those are my top 3, and my honorary mentions. Elden Ring DLC, you already know. Me, Carlos, and Chris went to dive back into that. Had a blast. Fuck the last boss, Radon, son of a bitch. And Rich, I know you'll like this one. And I'm being honest here. Indiana Jones, man. Indiana Jones was genuinely fun. I did not expect to even, because I said, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this game. The last 2 movies were shit, but the game was dope. This game was better than those last 2 movies, bro. Easily, So yeah, good. So decentish year so far, and all I had to do was just stay away from Western games, and I was very happy. Even though Indiana Jones is a Western game too, so I was surprised by that. But yeah, good year for gaming. All right, Manny, surprise. Usually you don't really participate too much in this because you don't play a lot of games. This year, you played a lot of games.
Yes, I did. I actually played a lot of games from this year.
Dun, dun, dun.
You know, like I literally began the year by playing what was it? Senua's Saga.
Yeah.
So, but that's not on my list. But
yeah, 3-1.
3-1. So okay, so number 3.
Yeah.
Black
Wukong?
Myth Wukong. Yep. So I love the Journey to the West stories, and I was so when we saw those first few things of it, in the year during the pandemic and all that stuff, I was on for this. I'm still running through this one. I'm having trouble with that snake boss, but it's still fun to kind of delve into the whole world of Wukong. I really want to see the 4 animated things inside of it. But what I've played so far, I had a really good time. So I play games slow. You'll see it. I'll have the platinum or something close to it by the end. But yeah, that's my number 3. Number 2, Stellar Blade.
Nice.
Noticing a theme here with Asian games, right?
Yes.
So again, very good game. What I played, I unfortunately had the misfortune of having my PlayStation 5 essentially go on fritz when this game came out. I did play I played a lot of the demo, and I played of the beginning of this game. Again, it's really nice to have these sorts of titles. Why Platinum Games isn't making them. It's rare when Capcom does them. So it's nice to see that somebody else has sort of jumped into that sort of category of these sort of these sort of beat 'em up. What do you call these games? I guess they're called beat 'em up. I don't know.
Yeah, hack and slash kind of.
Combo hack and slash games. Yeah, it's nice to see that, and then essentially, again, a sort of an expanded love letter to the Nier Automata. So,
Yo, Manny,
really good.
I see a pattern with these first 2 games.
Yeah, there is.
You must really hate Japanese games.
Yeah,
I know.
What's up with that?
Man, I really love Asian games though. And my number 1 is, and then this one, the game of the year.
Hey, Japanese game, by the way. Japanese game.
Japanese.
The Japanese.
I know some people were kind of calling this game out, which is weird.
Uh-oh.
Like, it would be nothing if it didn't have all those extra what is it? Those cameo bots? No. The game, if you even removed all those stupid ass all the cameo bots that are in the game, it's still a damn good title.
Yeah.
Lots of fun, really cool stuff. Just those crazy triangle, square, X cross levels, insane. But it's it's the general growth of and he even sort of the director even sort of said it himself, sort of you give people a very simple premise, right? Okay, jumping, punching, simple actions, and then how do you take that to the next level? How do you take that to the next level? And again, these levels in the game aren't super long. You could spend a little bit of little time here or there and just go through them when you want. Took me, including all the free DLCs that they've put out for that, which is also really cool about this. All the free DLCs that they've already had so far. I've spent 30 hours on this.
Nice.
Honorable mention. Can I have more than one honorable mention?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Go nuts.
Well,
Honorable
mention, Slitherhead. Again, not like the most polished title out there, I would say, but I appreciate that it exists. I had a lot of fun, and recently they had a really cool balance adjustment on to fix some issues with it. So I've already I have 40% of the trophies for this game, so I think I'm getting close to the end. I'm maybe at the halfway point, but yeah. And again, not super long, maybe a 16-hour, 20-hour type of game, 16, maybe 15-hour type of title. But I had a good time with it, and I would say for $50, you get this. It comes with an art book, comes with a soundtrack, comes with a bunch of stickers. I mean, why not? Try it out. And it was on sale for a little bit on Amazon, so. I think it's still on Steam too. So yeah, why not try it out? And then I don't. I feel weird about putting old games onto like remastered.
That's why I didn't have a
onto
certain
there.
game on mine, even though I wanted to.
Yeah, I
know?
want to put Marvel vs. Capcom on there.
Yeah, but
I also want to put Soul Reaver Remastered on there.
Yeah.
But they're not honorable mentions, but I want to say like a little bit of Soul Reaver. I had to stop myself from playing it.
Oh.
Because I still I'm working on some stuff and trying to get some stuff done. I know I would have jumped and got totally absorbed because I was in it. Once you got past that first area, I was like, oh, here we go. It again a very loving sort of a very nice like HD job they did on it. Essentially making all the essentially going through and making all the textures better looking and then remodeling all the characters, essentially make them look like their CG counterparts, those high resolution CG art. So they did the same thing for Tomb Raider as well. So yeah, it's and then all the characters sound really great. Like they look like they went back into the archives or something like that, and all the soundtrack sounds really good. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing that one more. I have my little listing of things that I need to kind of go through. But yeah.
Wait, your PS5 died?
Yes, and in May around my birthday, it literally bit the dust.
You just got that one though.
That May.
Yeah,
this was in May.
and it was in May. So I bought the thing in October of last year. It died in May around my birthday, which was unfortunate. That's when Stellar Blade came out around May.
So then what happened? Like did it?
Oh well, I had to ship. It was still under warranty.
Yeah.
So it was a 6 months warranty. So like I sent it out to Sony, and they sent me. Pretty much sent me a new one. They didn't fix my old one. So yeah, it was unfortunate, but yeah, that happened. Yeah. But I at least took a few months to come back.
Yeah. All right. Move on. Adam, what about you? Top 3 games from 3 to 1, 2024.
3 to 1. Number 1 being the best one.
Yeah.
All right. So number 3, G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra. That was fun. I love my beat 'em ups. And it was beautiful. The hand drawn artwork, the pixel art, they did some cut scenes with voice work, all of it. They did their own version of the G.I. Joe PSAs, but with Cobra at the end. It was really cool. I enjoyed it, and they're still putting updates and adding characters that you could unlock, like Gung Ho and Shipwreck and others. So that's there. Number 2. I mean, it's no one cares about this, but it's what I like to play. AFC. I love my football game. I love my soccer game. I put in, I don't know, some ridiculous. I was sending numbers with Rich because on the Xbox, I'm sure PlayStation also does it. I didn't get the email on it, but I know on the PlayStation, the Xbox sends you your wrap up, just like Spotify and all that stuff was sending. And I had like 150 something hours put into this shit already. So I spend a lot of time. No surprise. I mean, I'm a fan of the sport. My NBA is an honorable. That's part of it, whatever. But Warhammer Space Marine 2, had a lot of fun with that. Playing the co-op, they did a great job with that. No surprise, because I like the World War Z. Same team that did that, so a lot of craziness. But my number 1, and it's Yakuza Infinite Wealth.
Oh, shit. Nice.
They did such a good job with that game. And it's like one of those where it takes a lot, those type of games where you got to go into the tower. You have to put time in, and the time is always a problem for me, which is, I guess, why I focus on sport games, because it's in and out, and I'm done. But I just love that world of just traveling around, talking to crazy NPCs, getting crazy weapons and vehicles, and the world is so big now in Hawaii in this one. There's so much to do that whenever I think about like now I'm going to have some time off, and I'm just like, oh, what am I going to do? That's when I want to just dive more into and just roam around and just explore and just have fun. So they did such a great job with that one. So I love that. So that's my number 1.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. I got to play that game.
Yep. Good one.
All right, move on. Brian, what about you? And obviously, you get the caveat since you don't play too many new games, but you still sprinkled some in here.
Oh, this is gonna be the moment where he's like, that's what you thought, Tony.
Yeah.
God damn it, Carlos. stealing my thunder here. I actually have played a few games, ironically. But I played 5 games that came out this year. Okay, cool.
Oh, that counts, yeah. So I guess the same rule applies to you, 3-1, and honorable mentions.
Number 3, I guess I'll put it to Still Wakes the Deep. This was basically, it's a walking simulator, one where there's you go to an oil rig and then strangeness happens on the oil rig. If ever you played like an Amnesia game, then it's very
I finished
similar.
that one. Yeah, that was a good one with the Irish guy and
Yes,
dealing with all the issues and why he was there. And that was a sad ending. Yeah, that was good.
It was a good time, and it looked really great for what it was, and I think that the oil rig just makes one of the best settings for horror in general because you can't really leave.
It's like Alien Isolation. You're running, you can't fight back, but you have to run, and it's chasing you. And that was a good one.
Mm-hmm. So number 3. Number 2 and number 1 could honestly swap places depending on how I feel, but I think after I settle down, it seems like the only thing that differentiates these two is how much time I spent with them. So it's simply going to be the only reason why this game is number 2 is because I spent less time on this than the other one, and that's it. Which is Warhammer 40k Space Marines 2, a game I never thought it would even be made because the first one wasn't that popular, and even I overlooked the first game. I remember playing the demo on the PS3 and just thinking, okay, they ripped off Gears of War. This isn't all that great. Let's put it down. And then years later, it came on sale on Steam because of course everything does. And then I picked it up, and as per usual, didn't play it for more years. And then one day I was like, you know what? Let me just play through it and see how it is. If it's bad, it's bad. I'll drop it. And I loved the first one. And then out of the blue, I don't know what it was. I think it was like the game trailers. No, game trailers. The Game Awards. There was a trailer for Space Marines 2, and I just could not believe it. I'm like, wait, they're making a sequel to this game? Like, this isn't real. And then ever since then, just being drip-fed the content, and just seeing how they changed things and made things better in so many aspects. Yeah, it was a great time, honestly. I've never smiled from ear to ear so much in so long. It's fantastic. Like if you like those tech demos that you've seen in like the PS3 days where they're like, oh yeah, look at all the crazy things we have on screen at the same time, and you wanted to play a game, this is that. Period.
It's a great game to play on a big TV. If you have a big TV, especially with the draw distance, when they show the creatures, there's so many cool sequences where it's like, all right, we have to get ready, they're coming, and then it just expands out, and it's not a cutscene. You're seeing the swarm just like just come in on you, and it's like, and the guy's like, we have to hold. It's shooting and the crazy execution kills with your chainsaw sword. It's nuts.
Yeah, and it's nice to have a game that has like violence that makes sense. Because I'm sick and tired of games where it's like, oh yeah, the blood is orange because we can't have red blood, that's too much. It's like, you're God of War, shut up. What are you doing? So it's nice just having a game where it's just wall to wall glory kills, and it's just it's brilliant. And the sound design, it's really great. I think that's one of the most underrated parts of the whole game, is just how great the sound is. So yeah, that's number 2. Definitely worth a try. I will be playing again sometime next year, just because I'm kind of falling into like the Warhammer lore. So it'd be fun to
get lost in that.
And that has cross-platform play. So
yeah, I was playing the co-op with people on Xbox, people on PlayStation, people on PC. It's cool how to have the icons. That's great. number one, to no surprise, this is going to be a redo of, what was it, like 2014 when we did the Game Awards? No, Game Awards. The Throwdown Awards when Heartjess was on there.
Oh, yo.
Yeah.
Where Mass Effect just swept because that's the only game she played.
Yeah, it's they made it again. They made a sequel to a game I never thought they'd make a sequel to, Dragon's Dogma 2. I think that game is just fantastic, and I think that's the closest thing that we'll ever get to a modern, to an updated Breath of the Wild-esque game, purely just because of all the systems in play. I mean, you can trip over, and that's the thing. You can trip over into a wall and you fall over, and that's a thing that you can even use on your enemies. I think that's the level of detail that I love in video games, and that's what makes me love them even more. Just all these weird small details, like you can create a spell that creates ice blocks, and you can jump on those ice blocks to get to higher places. Fantastic. But then those ice blocks you can pick up and throw, and that becomes a weapon. And then you can throw things into other things. You can throw the ice box into some enemies, then you pick up the enemies, throw them into other enemies. It's like you're beating up people with other people. It's like it's fantastic. It's just great, and there's so much overpowered nonsense, and the developers don't seem to care, which is how it should be, because again, it's single player. It shouldn't really matter. Be overpowered as you like, and it's fantastic. And my companion was there with me all the time, Efetol. I think I taught him some really bad habits of just throwing stuff off the map, but yeah, he comes in clutch. So that's the other thing that I love, the companion system. It's just great, you know. It doesn't feel like you're babysitting the AI. It feels like the AI is weirdly kind of with you, and the AI has times when it feels like it's being smart, but then other times it's being quite dumb. So it's a mix. But yeah, it's great. Lovely to explore. Love the nighttime. Love the enemies. The only thing I'd wish is a bit more enemies in there, like in terms of variation, as it's kind of mostly the same. But again, at that point, I'm cherry picking. So yeah, that's my number one. Honorable mention has to go to, ironically, the other two games that came out this year, which are Silent Hill 2 Remake. Never played the OG. I played this one. Once I got over the whole Resident Evil 4 over-the-shoulder camera, it was actually quite good. I like how the take on the game is, in the sense of it's technically a remaster, but then it's technically a sequel in that it's the whole loop. So I think that's quite clever. You know, it's not just like, oh yeah, we're doing it again and nothing makes sense. But then, no, it's like, okay, we're doing it again because he's still stuck there, and hence he's just going through the same motions. It's like, okay, so that way you can retread events of the first game and call back to them, as well as doing new stuff, but then also still follow the same path lines. It's like, okay, nice, you know. And the other one is Power World. I had way too much fun with that. The only reason why it didn't make the top 3 is just because I'm not a fan of base building and micromanagement. I think it can be a bit annoying at times. But again, that's just me. I'm sure Brett loved it. So that's me.
Nice. And speaking about Brett, perfect segue. Brett, what are your top 3 games of the year from 3 to 1? And obviously some honorable mentions too.
I mean, honorable mention is definitely Power World, Dragon's Dogma. There are honestly a lot of games out this year. And my top 3 are I don't know that if I can put them in any particular order, because I keep kind of shuffling them around, and I'll explain why. Probably this is the most probable order I put them in. 3 would probably be Stalker 2. Man, that game is a throwback to old school game mechanics and the art of being just the right amount of pain in the ass. I firmly believe that if you give players the option, they will convenience themselves out of fun, or they will make the game more and more and more and more efficient until it's just not fun anymore. Like a good example is like you're like, oh, I'll teleport right. Yeah, I just wish I could teleport right to the dungeon when I want to do that. Well, I wish I could teleport right to the boss. Well, I wish I could just automate this or do that. And like eventually, I think you can reduce the amount of fun. So it makes it difficult, but I think in the right ways. They're like there's fast travel, but you have to hire a guide to do a fast travel. So it's very difficult, but it feels like a bygone era of games, and y'all know I like my difficult games. On that note, I would like to nominate Elden Ring again because fuck it, the Game Awards did. But like honestly, I don't know that I'd put that at my number one because it was a little bit overtuned when I played it. I haven't gone back, but like, fuck, it was goddamn brutal. And and this is something I'm like, I like the brutality. I even disagree with people a lot of times when they say it was too hard, but it was right on the edge. It was really pushing, to the point where like, man, just one hit and you go down. And I do like that I'm right on the edge, but if I'm right on the edge, then I know that there's some people that are like, I don't know about all that. And kind of on that note, I probably want to say Path of Exile is so far my favorite thing that I've played this year, only because the sheer amount of depth I've played in the time that I've spent with it. Now it's really hard to give it the number one position because I haven't. I've pretty much. I'm just rounding the end of the campaign now. Haven't done a whole lot of end game, so it's really tough to say. But what I will say is, I didn't realize like. I'm not sure if you guys played Diablo, but like as a witch, right? I'm like kind of a necromancer, but I found out I can stray not just in my skill tree to pick up different passive skills from other classes, but I can straight up take the skills from other classes. So for the most part, I'm a pyromancer. I use witch skills from the sorceress tree for like 80% of my build. Then I have necro zombies that come with it, and then I have the ability as a pyromancer to cast a flame wall, and then I have this special ability that I learned to make skulls fly out. Angry ghost skulls fly out of the flame wall, and they count as minions. So since I'm a witch and I do a lot of minion damage, it boosts the damage that immensely. And then I found a gem that lets me cast automatically whenever a minion dies. So I put this is gonna sound weird, on my skulls I put a thing that makes them do more damage and take more damage, and then a thing that puts them on fire, but oops, they take damage. But now I put on this other thing where when they get down to critical damage, they explode. And so now I have a thing where I've made this build where I step out, I open a firewall, flaming skulls come out, they fly at the enemy, then catch on fire, explode, burning everything in the area, and then because they've exploded and now destroyed a certain amount of minions, it keys on a special ability I have called Cast on Minion Death, and now makes the corpses in the area explode and fire rain down from the sky, igniting and making everybody who is already on fire exploded. It is a beautiful Rube Goldberg machine of chaotic, insane death. And I absolutely love that anything will let you be that absolutely batshit insane with how far you want to build something and how dumb you want to make it. And I just literally was like, how far can I just throw how many things can I just make explode at the same time? And it's ridiculous. And it's so much more freedom. And just if you look at the skill tree, just anybody who's curious, pop it up and look at it. It is absolutely insane. But it's not just a bunch of arbitrary, unnecessary bullshit. Everything in there actually does tweak and change the functional way that you play the game. So some things will increase, the amount of shield you have because you're doing several different things that combine shields or use shields as fuel to do other things. It's the opposite of what Ubisoft does, or what I feel like Horizon Zero Dawn does, where I have 9 skills here and none of them seem to do a goddamn thing. None of them change the way that I play.
But in this game, like maybe you want to have a ton of armor, a ton of energy armor, and that shit recharges, but 0 health, like next to no health. Okay, so you can get hit a lot of little times, and your health will recharge. But if it goes through that, you're toast. Or you can try, have to heal a whole bunch because you're not relying on your energy. Like there's just so many ways to approach it that at first it almost feels like even as an advanced kind of lore crafter, somebody who likes to make builds, like at first it's a little overwhelming, and then it just kind of comes down to like, well, what do I want to do? And it's so many options that it kind of ends up building what I feel like are a bunch of really kind of custom defined builds. Like everybody ends up being something a little bit different, not just in like, oh, Bill does 5% more fire damage. Like, no, like Bill plays this game a fundamentally different way than Jack plays this game, and they play the exact same class. And I don't mean just like the same class, but the same subclass. Just some of them, they pick different abilities and made them work against other different abilities in different ways. It's super interesting to play. It's kind of like the best I can equate it to is a Magic deck. Like how no two Magic decks are the same because they all key off each other and do all these weird different combo things. It's just I haven't seen a game be this afraid to be like, I have no idea. Like this is a little bit intimidating here. So it's kind of a breath of fresh air. And like a lot of games I've gotten to play this year, a little bit different from a lot of the standard. Other than the new Elden Ring, that was just kind of more of the same. But hooray for that! So there you go.
Cool. By the way, just to justify what you said about Elden Ring, remember the developers had to patch it because people were complaining that it was too fucking hard.
I mean, yeah, and I haven't been back there since then, so that's why I'm like, it could be, and that's why I'm like, I'd probably put it. I might put it, and I might put it at number 1 if I went back and played that after I've spent more time with Pax Val. I might get another 20 hours of Path of Exile and be like, no, this is clearly not as fun as Elden Ring. But like right now, I'm having a really good time with it, and I haven't had a chance to go back and revisit Elden Ring yet. So I'd say that's just my top 3 in no particular order.
Cool. All right, Rich, what are your top 3 games from 3 to 1, and an honorary mention or 2? Is Richard on? There he is.
Oh yeah, I'm here. So let me start by saying I'm disappointed that I'm going next because I was looking forward to hearing Carlos mention Dragon Age and Concord as his favorite games for the year. So
well, I guess I don't have to go anymore. I mean,
that's it. You named them all. That's funny.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. My number 3 pick. I got. Well, I may be the only one here on the panel that enjoyed this game, although maybe Adam did as well. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Hands down, in my opinion, that's the best game Ubisoft released this year. I know, obviously, they have made some bad decisions. They had a lot of bad things that have happened to them this entire year. And I know you guys made the comment about, oh yeah, Shadows is next. Well, I'm looking forward to Shadows because I want to see how bad it can get. So, yeah, I look forward to that. But no, this particular game I enjoy because I remember last year when I went to Summer Games Fest, I went to a Ubisoft event that same weekend, and I got hands-on time with this game. I had never played any of the Prince of Persia games. But after playing it at their preview event, I was like, okay, I already said this game is one to watch whenever it comes out, right? And then it came out in January. I enjoyed the game. I talked about it on here. Obviously, they made some bad decisions about how they released the game because it wasn't on Steam until a later point in time. And I mean, that's unfortunate because if it was available on every platform, it probably would have sold a hell of a lot more. But it is what it is. But yeah, that for sure is my number 3. Fantastic game. Definitely check it out for those that are interested. Number 2, Stellar Blade. Once again, for a lot of the same things that I know Tony and Manny mentioned the game already. Yeah, the game is awesome. This is another game where I remember I saw the trailers for it. I said, oh, that looks interesting. Then I played it because, again, I don't typically play a lot of the games that are really difficult with the bosses. So I was a little skeptical going into this, like, oh, can I actually play this game, or will I get my ass kicked every time I try to go up against a boss? And no, I was able to adapt, and it ended up becoming a really good game to me. So I definitely think people should check it out. And I did want to mention that also because I want Carlos to check this out, because I've been telling him he needs to play this game since it had to be for at least a couple months now. So
Since the pandemic?
No, hopefully not that long. No, but yeah, Stellar Blade #2, great game, awesome game. This is where it's going to be shocking here, right?
Oh, controversy.
We saw that. Yeah, and this is pretty important here. Now we know Astrobot, obviously, that was the game of the year, right? Much respect to Astrobot. I enjoyed the hell out of that game, but that's not my #1, and it's not my honorable mention.
Oh damn!
But it's a great game.
It's not a good game.
No.
It's just a game.
It is.
It's a game.
It's a fantastic game, but these other games I think mean a little bit more. So #1, I spoke about this game on here on the show before. I did a very extensive review of it on the website. It's this game called Romancing Saga 2: Revenge of the Seven.
Oh shit.
Excuse me.
Now,
where's Riku at?
Tony made a very
Riku would be proud.
Yeah, man.
Oh, he would?
Yeah, man. He loves the Three Kingdoms stuff, you know?
He loves the Three Kingdoms stuff, yeah.
So, well, I know about the Three Kingdoms. I know that Dynasty Warriors game is coming out. I don't think this is quite the same, because again, I was new to this series, but I do want to mention this story briefly because I remember PAX West a couple of months. I got a Square Enix appointment, and it was to see 3 unannounced games. And I thought to myself, okay, now they know that I'm here in Seattle. They know, and I didn't know what the games were until literally the day before. I'm like, come on, guys, it would be good to give me a heads up so I know, because I don't want to see no garbage. All right, so to my surprise, this game was one of was one of the games, and I remember talking to our very good friend Tatiana. When I found out, I'm like, do you know what this game is? She said, I've never heard of this game. So this game was one of the games. Dragon Quest was the other game. And then the other game was Fantasian Neo Dimension, which I reviewed recently, which again, another great game. But this game in particular, I was like, what is this game? And I went to the preview, and I was very surprised about what this game was. Again, RPG type of game. They have the inheritance system where you play as emperor, and then you're inheriting and going against these 7 villains throughout various generations. That really clicked me in, really, and not only did it click me in, but I remember I was on here on the Throwdown, and Tony made a comment about, I think it'll be good to hear about your journey with RPGs. And that is important because that plays a very big role in the type of content I'm going to be making starting in 2025.
Oh, boy.
Because obviously, I'll still be reviewing stuff like I always do, but I am now inspired to do a little bit more. And I don't want to talk about what all that is yet because, but I'll just say I'm going to expand my journey, so to speak, or my quest, so to speak, of exploring RPGs a lot more. Because again, I know I've said multiple times, I'm interested in Final Fantasy. I never played it. This game here made me want to play a lot of other RPGs just to see what's different about them and to better understand them. So that's why I definitely got to give this #1, because it kind of changed.
Oh, this is your game of the year.
Yeah, it's a game of the year. Yeah, #1.
Oh, I thought this was an honorable mention.
No,
I was like,
we're going down the line, baby.
What
Yeah.
No. This is definitely #1 because it made me want to get more into RPGs. No, I haven't played Fantasian yet. I mean to say Metaphor. I haven't played that yet.
Fantasia.
Yeah. So hopefully I will get to that. Hopefully I will get to Final Fantasy. But yeah, this game, fantastic. That's my #1 because again, it came out of nowhere because I didn't know nothing about this game until August. Then all of a sudden when I played it, like, all right, yeah, this is it. And I think I've actually put in a lot of time into this game. I know Adam mentioned, he talked about how many hours he put into FIFA. Yeah, I put a lot of hours into WWE 2K24 also this year. But this game I put more hours in. So
No, shit, man. I was gonna say you put in like 200-300 hours in that shit. I swear, if you didn't have that on your list, I would have called shenanigans on all your shit right there. I'm like, you downvote. You love that game. I tried to. It wasn't enough of a change. That was the only thing. It's like,
and you know the problem with that is I kept going back to the universe mode and trying to update it. Anytime I watch what happens on wrestling, I try to update it on so that was why it's all those
you
hours.
shouldn't have. That was the whole thing. You shouldn't have to do that. The game should do.
Yeah,
that.
you're
That's
right.
what it should be. Live should be live. It should be what you see, and they're just incorporating that into the game, but they're trying to be cheap. And I'm like, nah, you guys do it. It's like, okay, that takes a lot of time.
I agree. But no, but that's probably an honorable mention. But no, number one for sure, Romancing Saga 2. The actual honorable mentions here, also Indiana Jones, fantastic game. All right, and again, I'm a Machine Games fan. I was very skeptical that they were working on this because I wanted them to work on Wolfenstein, but they did an excellent job on this, so I got to give that on there. And the last honorable mention I will mention is Konitsugami, Path of the Goddess, because once again, that's another game I figured out, and I never played those type of games, like the tower defense strategy type of games, but that game again, it clicked, and again, this was on Game Pass. I played
Tony,
it. I was like,
huh?
Tony,
Yeah.
this isn't Rich. I don't know who this is.
He's a different man, you know.
this dude
New
needs to be on
year,
camera.
new rich.
No,
you know?
this is no the Brit Adam. I've seen this.
AI. This is AI. This ain't Rich.
I've seen this played out so many times. Rich is starting up. He's doing the Weeaboo starter pack.
The Weeble starter pack.
It's all the way up from here, man. I'm looking forward to it, Rich.
He's gonna be watching, fucking anime and shit. Reading manga.
All these words flowing out of this character's head. Right? I don't know this person. I don't know this person.
He'll be like, "Oh, Carlos, did you see the latest episode of Ichonichi or whatever the fuck?" It's a great series, you know.
It's definitely a great series.
Anything else, Rich?
oh no, that's it. We'll see what happens in 2025. But I'm looking forward to a lot of stuff. We'll get into that a little bit later.
That's what's up. All right, Carlos, man. What are your top 3 and some honorable mentions?
Rich already gave mine away.
Concord?
Concord is Concord and Failguard and WWE. I'll go with honorable mentions first, just because
Dustborn,
I don't really have. Yeah, Dustborn, the greatest hits. Monster Hunter Wilds beta. It brought back the memories. It brought back the vibes. It brought back J-Boy's voice.
Brought back the
It brought back the hammer, man. It's just one of those games, it's going to be mentioned in the later segment as well, but I enjoyed playing it with you guys at the end of the year. So yeah, that's my honorable mention. Number 3, it's a tie. It's a tie between Space Marines and Wukong. And Space Marines 2 to be specific. The reason for that is because I played those games. I didn't play those games to completion. I played them a little bit, and they're pretty much like the same tier type game. Both pretty good. Wukong, I enjoyed some of the boss rushes and stuff. It could have done better in other aspects. The world wasn't that really realized. The leveling up system is kind of weird. The map is confusing. But the bosses are fun. I like the first cinematic. It got me hyped. There's a lot of monkeys on it. And Space Marines was a lot of fun. I played it with Rich and Adam. We had a lot of fun, especially that one level we got stuck on.
Shit.
Where Rich is like, it took us like an hour or something for Rich to be like, oh, we need this grenade launcher.
It was
but
a pain in the ass.
But Space Marines, it's good. It doesn't have the roadie run, but it's still a good game. I like the fact that all of the enemies, go in at once, and I didn't really see any performance hiccups throughout those scenes, and they're really, really, really consistent. It's just Zerg Rush Horde mode all the time. So appreciated that. Number 2 is it's Jeff Keighley's game of the year. It's Astrobot.
Oh shit! Let's go.
Astrobot was a lot of fun, man. It's a platformer. I love platformers, even though I don't play them as much these days. But I usually talk with Tony throughout the shows, like, oh man, I want that Mario Odyssey 2 game. And this game, gives me those vibes. It's a really good platformer. It's challenging. It has a lot of heart, which is one of those things that games are missing these days. And you can tell, and I honestly, like, it's probably the best Sony game, like Sony first party game in a while. It's just, it has all the things for it to be a good game. Even though it had a lot of doubters, people said it was going to sell over 1 million. It's just, it's a great game. A lot of fun. I appreciated discussing with Tony and Manny as we were going through it. It felt like we beat it like around the same time.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just those moments. Even though it's not a co-op game, I like the conversations around the game as well. The ending credits, pulled on the heartstrings because it was just a love letter to the creators of the game, and it was just really well done. Astrobot's number 2. And for my game of the year, it's a controversial pick.
Dustborn.
It's Balerathon.
Balatro.
Yeah.
It's Balatra. There you go.
It's Balatro. That went to Vegas, and I'm like, that's it. No, it's not Balatro. Unfortunately, it's not Concord. Unfortunately, but it's a game that some people say it's not a game.
Oh, I know what it is.
It's a game that some people say it shouldn't be counted for an award.
Balatro
of this magnitude.
Balatro. You're talking about Balatro. Does it belong? No awards.
It has a lot of coincidence with Balatro. I will say that. But if someone makes one of the greatest games of all time, and then they tell you want more of this, you say yes. And I was definitely fed with this game. Played over 100 hours of this game. It's not the best ongoing game, unfortunately. It's Elden Ring, Shadow of the Earth Tree. Yes, some people say it's DLC and it doesn't count, but if Jeff Keighley can fix the rules, so can I. It's just a great game, man. It's one of those things where
we had a blast, man. We had a blast. I mean, you and Chris getting our asses whipped.
Playing with the fellas is always fun, man. It's always a pleasure to play with you guys. Playing with Chris. Chris is the most knowledgeable one. He's like
Sealy Tours.
What's the Sealy Tours? What's the Ghostbuster with the glasses?
Egon.
Egon.
Egon. Chris is Egon of the Throwdown when we play.
I'm Venkman, the loudmouth motherfucker.
And it's one of those things where we play and the experience is different depending on who's playing. Like with Chris, we're like, yo man, why are we struggling on Chris's games? Chris is our best player. It's like, but we found out it's the new game plus. This is just one of those rare experiences, man, where it fills all the boxes for me. The exploration, the the community, the bosses, the skill level that it requires, and the effort and the lore that you look into. It just has everything. Yeah, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, my game of the year. Can't I will say I can't wait for the game that's coming out in 2025, but it might not be this. So we'll see.
Dope. All right. Last but not least, Chris, what are your top 3 games of the year and some honorable mentions?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I haven't played too much this year, but I was selective. So I'd say my honorable mention, and this might be controversial, but I thought it was a good game and invoked good memories, and it's what I wanted for the series, was Alone in the Dark.
Oh, shit.
And I think, well, pour one out because Embracer killed these guys. There's
Oh shit.
Pieces Interactive, who developed the game. They're gone. They're shut down. But the game harkened back to the original like 3 games, right? And especially the first game, the Desetto Manor and all that stuff. Although it grounded it a little more, like it was a kind of an asylum this time, and not just this like spooky house that Edward Carby just drives up to one night in a drunken dare, and he's like, I'll go in there with no guns or anything and just fight my way through it. It had a lot of interesting characters. It had a lot of good acting. I mean, David Arbor played Edward Carnby. I thought he did a good job, and it had a lot of stuff going on, and you had to. The old game used to read. If you had the CD-ROM, it would read out files as you started learning about all the shit that was going on. This game does the same thing, so I could see for a lot of new gamers, I'm like, man, this must be boring for other guys. They expected Resident Evil, man. They're like, you can just flip to the flop. I don't care. I just want to shoot more zombies. But this game wasn't like that. There's a lot of like puzzle solving, whatever, and then the action happens. It's a little clunky, so I'm like, that's why it's not in my top 3. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was very good, and I feel bad for those guys because I thought they did a great job of what they had, and Embracer just shut it down.
Assholes.
So that, I mean, they didn't give it like 3 months.
Group.
Yeah, right. Fucking Embracer. So for number 3. I have it similar to Carlos. I think Carlos is an honorable mention, but the Monster Hunter Wilds beta test was fantastic. I was so impressed by that, especially the quality of life enhancements they made. I mean, you can sharpen your weapon now while running.
Yes,
it's fantastic. That by itself, I'm like, take my
while
money.
You're riding too, it's like, bro.
While you're riding,
yeah.
Oh, the mount.
Yeah,
the mount is great. That's fantastic. Like, oh,
it's got autopilot.
yeah. It was so good, man. It's touchy. I was so happy. I mean, fantastic. I can't wait. That would be game of the year right now for next year.
Yeah, and Carlos mentioned this, but obviously the J-Boy tutorials, those were great.
Oh,
too,
yeah. Yeah. Always.
What you'll need to do is you got to go over here, pick up the mount, and then you pick up the herbs, and you go over here.
Oh, yeah, because I was totally confused.
Yeah, we didn't know how to match up. Remember, we didn't know how to match up. We're like, what the fuck?
Oh, J-Boy comes in, he knows.
Now you go into settings, right? You go to group chat, and then after that, J-Boy, shout out, brother.
Shout out.
Yeah, so I mean, even that little sliver of game was just so impressive, so it has to be up there for me. Number 2 was for me was Stellar Blade.
Yeah.
Stellar Blade, fantastic game. I love the designs. I don't care what Western media says. Like more of this, please.
Yeah, you don't get any more of that. Yeah.
Yeah, give me more of that. Fantastic music. Overall, like yelling. It's like, did you try this? Did you listen to this fucking soundtrack? Did you see the monsters? Did you see the combat? Like, oh man, just ridiculous. Like it was very good. I'm glad. Originally I just bought it as a fucking middle finger to these assholes. I was like, nah, fuck you. Don't tell me what to buy. You should buy this game. All right, I'm buying it. And then I played it. I was like, wow, this is actually really good. All right, good. You just burned my money just a middle finger to fucking stupid game journalists.
You know what? One thing I want to quickly bring up. I love the fact that a lot of these people that were shitting on it, the journalists, even they were like, "Yo, this game's actually good, but I have to hate on it on principle."
Yeah,
they said that. You know, like what the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
Yeah, it's like just look at fucking play it on its merits. Don't be like, "Oh, we've all decided in a backroom council that we hate this game." You know, ridiculous.
I wonder what the Bears said.
The Bears.
The Bears.
Bears.
What did Coach Ditka say about Stellar Blade? And number one, I in agreement with you, Carlos, is Elden Ring. I mean, fucking phenomenal DLC. Just an amazing experience. The fact that how huge it was literally a whole other game.
Yeah,
the map was fucking gigantic. The number of bosses, the whole other storyline, the crazy fights, like the new mechanic with getting the shadow tree fragments and the spirit ash so you can enhance yourself because everyone will jack you up in this other world. Which is great. They had new weapons, which actually, Tony. So my guy is also a strength build. He's a strength faith build. There's a weapon in there I found, and I didn't realize this till I had to use an online spreadsheet, kind of like Brian showed me one for Elite Dangerous. There's some for Elden Ring too for specs, and basically put your stats in, tells you the best weapon to use.
Yeah.
This fucking anvil hammer I got, I was fucking smacking bosses around like nothing. This shit was fantastic. I put it to +10. I put it on my character, fucking whacking the shit out of everything. I was like, this is great. This is fantastic. Exactly what I needed. I just love hitting the shit as hard as possible. So this is perfect. I found that weapon. So I was in heaven. That game, fantastic. I know they changed the Game Awards. I didn't agree with DLC as the game of the year, but hell, they changed the rules, so I'm putting it my number one game of this year. It's fantastic.
I'm with it, man. I'm with it. All right, good stuff. All right, we don't have to spend too much time on this before we get to what we want to see in 2025. Let's talk about some disappointments of the year. Games that you played that you were like, what the fuck is this bullshit? I'll go down the line here. Carlos, anything you played that was disappointing?
No.
Or just
I mean,
bad?
I didn't really play much this year, so it was hard to be disappointed. I didn't, but to be fair, I didn't get a chance to play Concord, so because they wouldn't let me.
It's like, I was out that 2 weeks.
They wouldn't let you. They wouldn't let you. Yeah.
Yo, man, what's the system has? You
weren't even on vacation.
Was he on vacation for the hotness? I didn't really have a chance to play many games, so usually I don't have the many senses yet, but I'm usually good with judging games, mostly because I don't play that many. So I didn't have a chance to play a bad game this year.
All right, Manny, I'm guessing you're in the same boat.
As far as what bad games?
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a bad game, but I would call it a disappointment. It wasn't a bad game, but it was just a lot of issues that I had playing it. And I would say the Plucky Squire.
Interesting.
That game, again, I did quite enjoy it, but there are a lot of portions of it that are glitched and messed up, especially if you previously before the one of the later updates they did to it. There was a lock state in that game where you couldn't get the trophies. So it's I literally had to start the whole game over again in order to earn the platinum for it.
That sucks.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of issues, but some of the quality of life issue things that they improved. They cut down. There's a version of the game that you can have that cuts down the game to where you don't have to constantly listen to the dumb narrator always narrating things. So there's it keeps it just to the main thing.
Yeah.
What it'll do is the game pretty much stops you multiple times. The Plucky Squire decided to walk across the ground, but he didn't know there was anything there. So it's they cut all that stuff.
What's that shit?
out.
Bastion? Remember that game? It did something like that too. Yeah.
I feel like Bastion did a better job than Plucky Squire because like the narrator doesn't actually add anything to it. There's some really lame jokes that he sort of tells, but it's not,
So
I could see.
It sounds like it's trying to be Stanley Parable.
Yeah, it sort of sounds like the Stanley Parable guy, but I would say the Stanley Parable guy is a lot more funny. Like if he had that guy in Plucky Squire, it'd be a lot more interesting. But yeah, I feel like, that was what will be the worst thing that I played this year, and it wasn't really that bad. It's just it had a lot of issues, and the kind of crappy thing about that game is that it was a PlayStation network, the PlayStation Plus game. Like in other words, it came out and it was a PlayStation Plus game, so you can get it. So imagine everybody playing this game, and there's a bunch of things that are broken. I had the game freeze and all kinds of stupid shit happen, but I stuck with it. But yeah, that's about it.
All right. Adam, what about you? Any disappointing games you played or bad? You're muted.
Yes. Yeah, this is a sad one.
Uh-oh.
Undisputed. The boxing game.
Okay.
I was really looking forward to that game. I mean, I was supporting it over on Steam when I was in early access. I picked that up a long time ago, and I saw the development, and it was going through, and it was getting better. And then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna launch on consoles. It's gonna be sweet butter," and it just didn't. It didn't hit. It didn't hit. We were hoping. A lot of people were hoping for a good Fight Night successor because EA just doesn't give a shit about boxing anymore. So we're like, all right, well, these fools are doing a good job with it. It's going to live up to it. They got the boxers, the licenses, commentators. It looks the part. It just doesn't play the part. Something about it doesn't feel natural. Then it's very mechanical with the menu systems. You were just talking about spreadsheets, Chris. It feels like that. Like you're playing with spreadsheets. Like you just see a bunch of little boxes and you're like switching. It's like, this isn't what I want. It's like, I want to level up my guy. I want to box. I want to fight. It's like, no, you got to do these weird things. It's sad. It's sad. So that was, there. And then I'll throw in the honorable appointment, and that is Star Wars Outlaws. That goes up there. Both of them let me down. It's like, for one, the game doesn't work on Steam Deck. That's always a negative. I'm telling you, that's my sniff test.
Yeah.
If this shit don't work on there, I'm already thinking it's bad. I'm about to throw this shit in the trash. I was like, why? Why does it not work? But just the fact that it's plural in the title and it's a singular game. Outlaws, no. One outlaw. One.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I didn't like that, and it just feels empty. It feels like there should be more to it, and it just doesn't deliver on that. I mean, it looks pretty. It sounds the part. It just doesn't play the part. And I mean, that's on par with all the Star Wars TV shows on Disney. So
yeah,
they're all in the same boat. Yeah,
it's on brand.
It's on brand. So that way, it's on brand. So yeah, that's my disappointments.
Yeah. I'll go next. We've kind of talked about it a little bit, but yeah, the absolute worst game I played this year, I reviewed it, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Absolute dog shit. And it's very disappointing because this is from Rocksteady Studios, which is one of our favorites, right? But
we knew that was going to be bad.
Well, we knew, but I still, but it was still bad. So I'm calling it out, Dog shit game. Oh, here's the We talked about how long it takes these games to be made. So like if you're inspired by a certain genre, 5 years from now when your game drops, that genre may not be viable. This one was trying to be, like a looter shooter type of game. Those aren't really viable as much like they used to be. So you're late to the party. You have like this really nihilistic tone where like you could feel the hatred the developers have for the fans, for the fucking properties. I mean, the way they just killed Batman like that, it's like, this is like, it's a big middle finger to the fan, to DC and everything. absolutely horrible. I'm glad that no one's playing this game, and I predict that Rocksteady Studios will be shut down eventually. And it cost WB $200 million. Like, they lost a shit ton of money. What a dog shit game. This game is emblematic of everything wrong, everything that I've been rallying against with the industry. This game exemplifies it. And you're going to see other games in its wake. You're already seeing Dragon Age. That's another one that's going down the drain. Fucking Shadows that has Creed that's going to go down the drain too. All following the footsteps of bullshit like this. Horrible fucking game. Like, and I believe that was the first game I played this year, bro. It's like, that is not a good way to start, man. But absolute dog shit, you know? All right, move on here. Brett, did you play anything disappointing or bad?
You know, I'm sitting here trying to think. I'm like, I can't. Not that I can think, but I think I actually was smart to stay away from most of those games this year.
Good for you. All right. What about you, Brian?
I played a game that I thought was disappointing, but it didn't come out this year, so I don't know if that counts.
Sure. Why not?
Immortals of Avium.
Oh, okay. I've heard about that game.
I'm not surprised. The game came out, game was a flop, studio was shut down.
Yeah.
And doesn't exist anymore. So, yeah, it was just not that great a game. Lots of weird problems. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. Damn, that's how you know it's disappointing. You don't want to talk about it. All right, fair enough. All right, Rich, what about you? Any disappointing games?
I think you said it best, Tony. The Suicide Shit Squad. Complete garbage. And yes, that's a bad way to start. A bad way to start the new year. I remember I told Adam I was looking forward to the game when I saw the first trailer.
Yes, the first.
Then
trailer.
when they started putting out the other trailers, I said, "Nah, man, this is not it. This is not it." Yeah, no, that has to be at the very top of the list. It's the worst game I played this year. It could very well be the end of Rocksteady. I'm pretty sure. You know, WB, and here's the thing about WB. You know, right now it doesn't look like they have anything coming next year aside from that Game of Thrones game, which I found out is a mobile game, by the way.
And they say they were putting their licenses up for sale, like they were going to ship them around, that they were going to.
No, they said they're going to focus on three. They said they're going to focus on three main properties: Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, and Mortal Kombat. That's what they said.
Yep.
And Mortal Kombat ain't doing so well either. You know, if the rumors are true. Anyway, go on, Rich.
Yeah, no, I agree. Mortal Kombat is not doing well. They still have a couple of fighters they have to release. The Conan the Barbarian coming to the game in January.
He's not looking too good either, man. Just saying, he's not looking too good.
No, he definitely
is. Is it Kevin Sorbo? What
no, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it's just, but you know, it's really because it's Mortal Kombat. It looks all stiff and stupid. You know, people are saying he looks like he controls like Tusk from Killer Instinct. Yeah. Anyway, go on, Rich.
Yeah, so I do want to add a quick point because Adam mentioned Undisputed. Well, Adam, I'm going to give you another reason to make that the most disappointing. They recently announced that Jake Paul is now DLC for the game. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you wanted more of a reason why Jake Paul had to win that fight, because they're charging people for that DLC. So yeah. So yeah.
That's simple. Just make it fucking generic dude. White guy with blonde hair. There you go. You just made it Jake Paul.
That's right.
There's nothing special. You know what I mean? He doesn't have a unique look. I mean, I don't. Whatever, man.
I agree. No. One last thing I will add as an honorable mention, and Adam will appreciate this because I will sound normal again. I have to complain about WWE 2K24, all right? Because 2K, now 2K25, we'll see how that goes. I give them
nervous.
credit.
Nervous.
Yeah, I'm very nervous. I give them credit because they put CM Punk in the game, whatever. But that game completely out of date. They do updates or don't do patch updates that completely break the game, and then there's bugs and all this other type of stuff. It's very frustrating. But I go back to play it because anytime they release the new DLC, sometimes I want to check out the wrestlers. It's okay. But clearly 2K is very lazy with that license. I haven't really seen any significant changes with this game when I started to play some of the other modes they had and some of the other match types. So I hope that changes going into 2025. But I have to say I'm a bit disappointed because the DLC, some of them DLC they had that whole DLC of Pat McAfee and his crew on the ESPN show. None of these guys are wrestlers. So why the hell was that DLC even made in the first place? Yeah. So stuff like that, very disappointing. But
Tony,
we'll see what happens next year.
they're chasing the rainbow for the microtransactions because they got their own system there. Yeah, and they're like, oh, if you want to get, remember what was it? Rich, I think it was The Rock or one of them. It's going to cost like 180 real world dollars or something like that. Yeah, because you have to first get a certain character to start the build of getting all the other parts.
Yeah.
It's like challenges. Now you could either grind for it or you can buy that base version outright, and that had to get through VC, and I think you had the virtual currency, and you had to spend like $50 or $60 just to get that far. And then once you get in, then you have to do all these other challenges. But then there's another tier that you can buy some packs and hopefully get another piece within. Yeah, hopefully within those packs, because there's a chance you get. I mean, this is dumb. And then when people do this shit, and the most notable was The Rock, because it was like, oh, you're getting WrestleMania Rock, final boss, and he came down with bell bottoms and this whole big flashy shirt. Well, no, that's not the version you got. The one you got just had a sweatsuit on, a black sweatsuit. Wow. He doesn't have a crazy intro. He doesn't look anything like the WrestleMania. So you do all this work, you spend all this money, and you get bullshit, and it's locked. You can't edit, you can't do anything to it, and this is how they want to make their money. And it's a shame. And then, like, even what he was saying with the DLC, a lot of DLC that they're giving you are for characters that were already in the last game.
Wow.
That were part of it. And they're like, oh, yeah, WCW Legends. Yeah, I played these Legends last year, and they were part of the game. Now you're putting them in DLC. That's bullshit. Or this is the worst. This is the worst.
I thought this was much the most disappointing game.
I don't know.
He opened up the box. How are you going to have a season pass? You have a season pass, and what do you think with a season pass? Well, it's a season. I get everything, right? Wrong. Get another pack after the season pass, and that you need to buy that, and that is not part of the season pass. So you spend like 140 or whatever it was for the whole shebang, just to find out that there's more stuff that's after the fact that is not covered and that you have to go and buy.
That's some bullshit.
You know, they did that last year with Bad Bunny, you know, and they were like, oh, yeah, you want this? Yeah, okay, well, you got to pay for it. And now they did it again with The Fiend. The dude is dead. Bray Wyatt is dead.
Yep.
Be nice. People, fans want to love him and keep him in their memories and have them in the game and know they want to nickel and dime. And it was like, he was in the game. That's good. But then they're like, oh, we got these other outfits and all this other stuff. Okay, are you going to give it to us, you know, in memory of? No, you have to pay for that shit.
Damn.
And that's not part of a season pass. That's after. And you know they plan that shit.
And you know for a fact that none of that is going to the family, because they didn't say anything about that. This is them wanting to get some money out of this, because they know people have been waiting for that Fiend to get put in the game. So it's just ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. And that's what I'm upset about, and I'm worried, because that seems what they're focusing on, just trying to get the microtransactions and to get the whales. Because I know there's got to be people that are spending $100 to do all this shit, you know, buying all these packs just to get a bullshit skin for a character. No.
That's crazy. All right. Yeah. Any other games, Rich, disappointing?
Oh, that's about it. But once again, Suicide Squad at number 1 at the top of that list, where it belongs.
Yeah. Again, the game's so horrible, it made me want to commit suicide Fucking
Whoa.
I wanted my fucking suffering to end, man, with that bullshit. All right. Chris, played anything disappointing in this year?
No, thankfully with the limited number of games I played and then talking with you guys, I've avoided tragedies. Like, there's no way I was touching Suicide Squad.
We all avoided Fail Guard,
No, there was no way I was spending a dime on that. Like, Rich joked about Concord. Not a chance. Like, there was warning signs. At least, keeping up with stuff like that, you just know, like down the road, it's like that's a problem. And I understand you guys have to play some of these games. Like, you have to, right?
Yeah.
So you touch these games, and it's just like then you're scarred for life. But I was fortunate that I dodged a lot of crap. So we'll see what happens next year. But no, this year I was fortunate.
Yeah, Philly Fred. What game cost $3 on Steam? Fail Guard or Suicide Squad? Oh man. All right, man. And the last thing we're gonna wrap up here with 2025 people. What are we looking forward to? And this could be games or industry trends or whatever, Manny, I'll start with you. Are you looking forward to anything 2025 in gaming?
I don't know. I mean, I guess Monster Hunter would probably be
Yeah.
because like everything else, like the things that I've seen, like I don't know, like I think there's rumors that Death Stranding 2 is going to be launching. I'm not really that interested in playing another one of that. Yeah, I don't know. It remains to be seen as to what's going with that. But at least for most definite, definitely going to be looking forward to what's that thing to Monster Hunter, and maybe I might play Indiana Jones. We'll see.
Yeah,
it's coming out. It's coming out. What, like next year at when is it?
Well, Manny could play it right now on Game Pass.
I don't have an Xbox.
Don't you have a PC? Is it how you play?
Manny,
I no longer have a PC.
Carlos, no.
God damn it, bro! Go do it.
Go ahead.
I'll give it to you.
But Manny, everything's an Xbox.
But everything's an Xbox except for my PlayStation.
But it will be an Xbox when Indiana Jones comes out for it.
But it will be.
It'll be an Xbox then. But
there you go.
I'll play it on the PlayStation. I'll see what it's all about. Especially since I hear you, all you guys all ranting.
Yeah, it's fun.
About it. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll give Indy a chance.
Yeah, because I know you don't like first person view. That might throw you off. But the actual game.
I dealt with BioShock Infinite.
Yeah, and this game is not nearly as fast as that. And it's more stealthy, and it's stealth. You like stealth, so that's good.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'll check that one out. I mean, if I still had a game, was it a Game Pass Infinite, I would have done like I did with Hellblade and did it that way, but that was long gone.
Yeah.
Anyway,
time.
yeah. So that's at least my two for now. We'll see what happens next year. Hopefully, I said this before on my Twitter account. Next year it would be theoretically if a studio started a game in 2020 or 2019. That means that 2025 should be the end of development for a lot of titles. So hopefully we'll see a lot more.
Yo, where the games at?
Where them games at?
Right. Carlos, what are you looking forward to in 2025 for gaming?
Obviously, like Manny mentioned, Monster Hunter Wilds is at the top priority of the beginning of the year. And this is not ironically or anything like that. I'm not looking forward to play it. I'm just curious to see how Assassin's Creed Shadows is. Obviously, it's the butt of the joke on Throwdown. But the interesting thing is, from all accounts, Assassin's Creed games are usually just the same old thing. So I'm curious if they actually, aside from the story stuff, if they actually try to do something different with this game compared to other ones. But as far as like anticipating, like Monster Hunter Wilds is one. I'm really curious to see how Elden Ring Night Rain turns out to be. You know, Tony, and I know how conflicted Tony was when he heard roguelike. But I also know how conflicted. But I also know how conflicted you were because it's freaking From Software.
Yeah,
because it's like it's not one of those studios where it's like they just do the same type of thing that everyone does when it comes to roguelike games. So hopefully they put their twist on it and they make it good because we know the combat's going to be there. That's one of the good things about From Software games.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to GTA 6 because and shout out to Jay Shep. He put me in the accountability section.
Oh yeah,
he's my accountability buddy. It's that game. I'm saying it right now. That game, and I've said it the day it got announced. It's not going to come out in 2025.
I agree with you.
It's just not going to happen.
Listen, every GTA game has been delayed, bro, without exception.
Mm-hmm.
So this one will be too.
This is no different. And they're making too much money from GTA 5, so they're still trying to milk that.
They're not in a hurry.
Definitely not. And as far as those two, I'm trying to think. There was another game that I was anticipating from next year. I just can't remember which one it was. I'm pretty sure one of you guys is going to mention it.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the big ones, those are some of the heavy hitters for me.
Yeah, I'll go next because, and this is a running theme right now. Monster Hunter Wilds, that's the game. Like, when that game drops, bro, that's it. It's over. Like, we're going to be playing that all the time, probably for the rest of the year. That's why I'm not even sweating GTA 6. I'm like, give me Monster Hunter. I'm going to fuck about GTA 6, But especially because I also don't trust GTA 6 because not the same people are working on it. So, yeah, there's that. I'm also looking forward to, because now, again, I've been playing a lot of fighting games, a lot of SNK games. I'm looking forward to Fatal Fury. The studio has done a really good job with the art style. Like, you could tell they're finding their place, with the Unreal Engine. It's looking good. And also, this is one I keep forgetting is coming out next year. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys in this room will be like, oh, shit, I got to play this. Because we all like the previous two games. Doom the Dark Ages, man. Doom 3, basically.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Like, fuck. So you already know we're all going to be back on that shit. The guys who played the last game.
It's one of them ones, man. And Tony, is that get ready to replace Doom Eternal for your spec or for your text review specs.
Yep, exactly. That's why the other reason I'm looking for that's it. This is gonna be the new standard, So your boy's gonna review that game for sure. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And then industry stuff. Because the only thing I want is games, man. Like, I don't think I'm asking for much. So hopefully, Manny's not prediction, but Manny's hope that a lot of games will come out next year will come out because it's been dry.
It only makes sense. That, like, again, 5 years, 5-6 years is the
but the coronavirus,
not coronavirus, coronavirus, but still, at least by now they should at least be able to say there's something that's going to be there. Because if you're in another 5 years, we're already talking next generation.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. Also, honorable mention to Capcom Fighting Collection 2. I really want to check out the Capcom vs. SNK games and to replay motherfucking Power Stone again, man. Let's go. That's going to be fun. All right, Adam, what are you looking forward to in 2025 for gaming?
Other than Call of Duty.
Well, those are given stuff, but I'm not getting anything I want. I want another Division. I'm not getting it. I want another Gears game. I'm not getting it.
8.
The only thing that I'm looking forward to is, and I'm not even sure if it is coming this year, 2025, that Doom game.
Yeah, it's
medieval Doom.
Yeah, Dark Ages. That's the one I just mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it confirmed though? Is it
definitely? Yeah, they said 2025. I don't know when.
Everybody lies to me, so I don't know. But that's the only one I can think of. Because besides that, there's really nothing. People like, the sports games, they come out every year, so there's nothing to look forward to. I know it's happening. So, but for something worth playing, story based, and all that, that's the only one that comes to mind.
Yeah. I want to read some game Barry Burton is looking forward to in 2025. Agent, StarCraft Ghosts, Scalebound, and Beyond Good and Evil 2.
The greatest hits. 8
That's a
days.
forever list.
You know?
You could use that list for next
For
year.
next year, after that, you know. All right, Brian, we're looking forward to 2025 in gaming.
That's it. He's not
That's
hyped
it.
on
You don't give
anything.
a fuck, you know.
That's it.
That's the list.
All right, we'll come back to Brian then. Brett, what about you, man? Looking forward to anything in 2025 in gaming?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the full release of Valheim. I'm looking forward to Monster Out with all of you. I'm looking forward to Ring Night Rain. I'm looking forward to what the fuck is that Fallout looking game that isn't Fallout? Looking forward to that thing.
What, the Outer Worlds too?
No, it's the
Adamfall.
Oh, Adamfall.
Adamfall, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to a lot of stuff actually. Looking forward to the full release of Path of Exile next year.
There you go.
Hopefully it's be a bit good.
All right, Chris, what about you?
Oh, I mean, a lot of them have been said. Monster Hunter Wilds, I think, is most anticipated. And you would think I would have switched it once I knew about Elden Ring, but I have to see about that Elden Ring, that new one.
Yeah,
but it looks good. But I'm a little like, it's not quite the same. But I'll taste it, see how it is. But Monster Hunter, I'm all in. Like, give me that meal. Give me that big ass like fucking meal, man. Get the Palicos, cook me that meal.
There you go. Cook that meat.
You know, Doom. You said Doom. I was like, oh my god, I totally forgot about Dark Ages coming out. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to. You know what? I want to check out that Marvel game, that 1943. Rise of Hydra.
Yeah,
thing?
the Black Panther game or whatever.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. Like, I would check that out, but I'm not gonna.
Next year?
I think it is. I mean, they've been promoting it all this year. I was assuming it's next 2025. They didn't put a date on it, but I assume they had a year on it. And also Metroid Prime 4, finally.
Oh shit!
Got hands on that shit. Like, that was promised back in 2017. Remember they showed the logo?
Oh, yeah.
The fucking Switch came out. It's finally coming out.
I
8 years
that.
later. 8 years, man.
Wow.
Or is it?
I remember, because fucking Nintendo had that press conference really early that morning, so Manny and I actually saw that in the hotel room at E3. We're like, okay, it's just a logo. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were hanging out. We were sharing a room with Nash that year. Shout out to Anthony Nash. All right, let's try this again. Brian, are you around?
Yes,
there you are.
I had a quick break.
All right.
Again, see, the thing about going last is that everything has already been said. So I've put like a Brian out of my ass.
Uh-oh.
So I'm going to go with a game that I've been excited since it was announced back when there's just one person working on this. Lost Soul Aside.
It's Rich's favorite game.
Yes, it finally got a release date after years. I think it was shown, I think, back in 2013, or well, not announced, but it was talked about back in 2013, just being made by one Korean dude, and it looked great. And then Sony invested it, and it was meant to be coming to the PS4, but then obviously we're now in a new world, so now it's PS5 time. So I've got word it's meant to be coming out next year, so fingers crossed. Looking forward to it. Not looking forward to the rumored news that you need a PSN account to actually play it. So, sigh. But yeah, that is one game I'm excited about. On top of everything else that's been mentioned, so obviously Doom, Monster Hunter, that's going to destroy everyone's time.
Yeah, Monster Hunter, you already know, man. Game of the year already. All right. Go ahead.
Want to give a quick shout out to the Trails in the Sky remake that's going to come out. Riku DM'd me about this.
Yo, Carlos, you gonna play it?
Yep. So Gotta give a shout out to Riku. And I did play the original one. So and I really enjoyed it. So when that one comes out, I might get into it. And also gotta give another shout out, or not shout out, but Nintendo. I'm pretty sure the Switch 2 is going to be announced.
Yeah, that's right. Almost forgot about that. That's right. Yeah, it's coming.
So, maybe Metroid Prime 4 is going to be the marquee game for the new console. We'll see. Hopefully it is, and hopefully Nintendo gets their head off their asses and makes the Joy-Cons big enough for man hands. That's enough.
They won't, and it'll be a Mario Kart that launches because that's printing money still for them.
Yeah, that's the rumors that it's going to be Mario Kart 9.
That's it.
But one of the rumors does also say that it will actually have larger Joy-Cons, so we'll see.
Joy-Con,
or
there'll be an option to get it, like those. God, there's some third party made some beefy looking ones that you can attach on.
Did they get sued?
Yeah.
No, they didn't get sued because they got licensed.
Officially licensed. Okay. That's cool.
Nyko, I don't know, some fucking brand. But they made the controllers and they have to charge separately. They can't charge on them.
Yeah.
But they're beefy.
Yeah.
They're pretty beefy and you slide them on. So.
Oh, is it the black ones with the red thumbsticks?
I don't know the reds, but they're black, yeah, and they're thick.
Why they got to be black?
That's thick.
The way they
All right, man. Good stuff. Well, we promised you an epic show and we gave it to you. You know how we do on these year-end specials. So
hold on.
Yeah. With something else? More games?
Oh shit.
Yeah. I need to go because I didn't go yet.
Oh, you did? I thought you did. My bad, Rich.
Oh no, I got a few things to say. I'm gonna have fun with this one.
Go ahead. The show is yours.
All right, so here we go. Industry. I look forward to the inevitable announcement of Resident Evil 9 in 2025 because I was expecting that to happen. It didn't happen yet. It has to happen next year because the game has been in development. So I look forward to that. I look forward to going another year where Ubisoft will not announce another Splinter Cell game because that's going to happen. That's their track record. We know. I look forward to Xbox supposedly having a very good year next year and most of those games coming to PlayStation. Yes.
Wait for Summer Game Fest. Wait for Summer Game Fest. It's coming.
I will, and I will be going back to Summer Game Fest because I'll be curious to see what's there. But as for the games, I do plan to check out Monster Hunter Wilds, obviously. But I do want to mention this because ever since I saw this game, I wanted to find out more details. Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Once again, RPG game. It was at the Xbox Showcase. I can't wait. And that game is confirmed for 2025. Also, you guys are mentioning the Hydra game earlier. That is confirmed for 2025. And Doom, there's a rumor that that's coming out sometime in May.
Oh,
so yes,
let's go.
There's a lot to look forward to.
Man, yeah, next year might be good. And even though I highly doubt it's going to come out next year, I'm looking forward to seeing a full gameplay trailer or trailers of Virtua Fighter 6, bro. That's just looking clean.
Oh yeah.
Man, I'm telling you. But definitely, Revo's coming in January for PC, and I know there's going to be tournaments for it. So I think that game's going to get the spotlight, and then I predict we're going to see a Virtua Fighter 6 trailer at EVO. And if things go right, spoiler alert, I might go to EVO next year. We'll see what happens, And I'm going to do it right, too. I'm going to enter the fucking tournament. I'm probably going to get booted out really fast, but at least I can say I participated at EVO. That's what's fun about that. It's just open tournament. Anybody could participate, just like the old arcade days. You got a quarter? Let's go, That's it. The weight of the coin, man.
Arcade machine.
That's it. That's my turn, Motherfuckers remember that. All right, man. We're done here. Thank you guys for another awesome year, but we're not done yet. We got one more episode before we close out 2024. The big AMA special. Some of you guys have already been asking us questions, and some of these questions are really fucking good. Like, yo, you guys have really put a lot of thought into this. So please make sure you go into the questions section in the Discord and ask us some non-gaming questions. Get creative with the shit. Ask us about whatever you want, as long as it won't get us in trouble, like Carlos said, you know? But like I said, some of these questions are really fucking good. Like, whoa, I got to think about this one, you know? Some deep shit, you know? So shout out to you guys. And we'll do our big shout outs to everybody at the, end of the next episode. So we'll save all that till then. But before we wrap up, do we have anything to plug?
Rich, I'm looking at you.
Yes, a few quick things to plug. In regards to the coalition, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Gary Swaby because he did a very in-depth video review of Marvel Rivals, which is currently on the website right now. So I would encourage y'all to check that out if you want to hear his thoughts, because obviously he's played Overwatch. He did a very good job comparing both of those games. So check out that review on the website. Shout out to Dana and Danny because they did a reaction trailer to the Superman trailer that dropped today. They did their reaction.
An hour long.
Yes, it is a very lengthy discussion for those that want to check out what they had to say and you're excited about the movie. Definitely check that out. And I will also give a shout out to Mr. Torrance Davis because I saw that he is posting CES stuff on the website as well. So, yeah, a lot to look forward to. A lot more content coming. Obviously, we're going to take it easy because we're in the holiday season now, but I'm already working on some stuff for 2025, so stay tuned.
There you go. Good stuff. All right, guys. So, yes, we'll be back on Sunday for the final episode of the year. Make sure you start getting those AMA questions in right now. Ask as many as you want. We're going ham on that episode, too. We got to leave you with a lot of content before we leave. And who knows, maybe during our break, Manny may stream something. We'll see. You're muted.
It's an unofficial tradition,
yes.
But I tend to end up doing something in between that time, whether that be an art stream or whether that be a gaming thing. So, guys, stay tuned. We'll make the announcement on the Twitters and all that other good stuff. So, yeah.
There you go, man. All right, you already know. Make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Follow us on YouTube and join the Discord. And also make sure you follow us on your favorite podcast app. And links to everything are down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco. And tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Yo, we'll be giving our shout outs in the next episode.
Yeah. Brett.
Hold up.
Wait a minute. Brett Murdoch.
Peace.
Adam Vale.
Enjoy Sonic 3.
No, it's out. It's out. There you go.
This weekend. That's tomorrow. And yeah, we're going on Saturday.
Good stuff.
I'll be there.
Thank you. That'll be good.
Yeah. Richard Bailey Jr.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
And Brian Manjoma.
It turns out Ellen and Pierce cannot tell them apart.
Damn! They all look the same. And side stuff, that Luigi guy is in the same jail as Puff Daddy. Things might get very interesting, All right, guys, we'll talk to you